extra thick, chunky chicks at? Good question, Efrain. Good question. Everybody's in their weight loss journey recently. It ain't fair. President's Day. When's President's Day? Oh, happy birthday, Blue. It's your birthday, Blue. What happens at 00? That's when we drop the bomb. Just kidding. We read spooky stories.
Mischievous dog.
Sarah, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you. JP, you're a big fan. Well, it's good to see you. I'm glad you guys can make it. For anybody newer to the stream, we're just chilling, chatting until the timer gets down, and then we'll switch it to a spooky mood and record tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's spookies. Spooktacular spookarinos. What stories we're reading tonight? Tonight is scary stories about families with dark pasts. We did something similar in the past. Fashion design school is getting the best of me, so I haven't been able to join in a while. Oh shit. How's that going? All you gotta do is find like pieces of trash that, you know, like seagulls have been like eating for a while, and just throw it on people. Honestly, you know, it would be a sick little runway walk deal if you could find like 20 hobos and just like have them right off the streets offer them like booze or donuts or whatever it is, and just have them walk up and down that runway in whatever coat they've been wearing for 20 years. I think that would be really progressive. Very eye-opening. Rachel Stevens, welcome back for 21 months, says, I need this stream session more than you know. You're an angel. Thank you for all the hard work you put in your chat. Oh, thank you, Miss Stevens. Always appreciate you. So Long says he can find 20 hobos. Perfect. See, we've already got the logistics figured out for you. Yeah, I'm doing much better than I was on, what day was it? Thursday? I think I was, or Wednesday, I guess, when I was sick. Yeah, that was weird. It was like there was a point whenever I like slept and I just had like, you know, like eye-rolling nightmare fever dream going down, you know, just absolutely fucking seizing up, foaming at the mouth. And then when I came to, all the visions I had just revealed to me that I'm fine now. And I am pretty fine. I'm a little stuffy, a little stuffed up, but I feel like that just takes some time to get back to normal. And David, thank you for the 1. Good to see you. Imagine them hitting the pipe as they walk down the right. Yeah. he'll get to the end of it and just kind of be like, sit there like waving back and forth on Fent. But I think that would be part of the show. Everyone in that bougie higher echelon of society who say they give a fuck about all that stuff can finally see what it really looks like face to face. Christopher Walken. Ooh wee. Oh my. A YouTuber I followed for a long time told the stream he hated all his followers and was only doing the money he was drunk. Oh my goodness. What a jerk. What kind of content does he do? It was probably Overwatch, an Overwatch streamer. If I had to be an Overwatch content creator, I'd probably OD too. Brooklyn Gonzalez. Welcome back for 33 months. Hello, hello. Thank you again. And Michelle Noctegal. Welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. Call of Duty. It's tough. I don't know, you know. Just because it's like, the community, I feel like, is very toxic. You know, you gotta like network, you gotta like talk shit, you gotta, you know. It's kind of like the fitness industry a little bit. When I look at it, it's all very superficial. And I feel like if you're gaming, streaming all the time, and people are like talking shit on your like bad days, and you're wasted, you probably just want to be like, shut the fuck up! Ah! But that ain't me. That ain't me, baby. I like you guys. I like you so much that I get on at midnight. Ellie Poison. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. And Sarah TR, thank you for the 2 buckaroonies. This is watching scary movies to honor Black History Month. Interesting. Which ones would that entail? Scary Movie 1 and 2 with the Wayans brothers. When do you think the next Delta Rune will be out? Delta Rune? I'm not familiar with that. Is that for RuneScape? You like me? Yeah, no, I am thankful you guys still show up late. Oh, you forgot to renew. Oh, no worries. There is new bonus content out, though. We got a little Western zombie story. Well, zombie vibes, at least. Big up from the UK. Thank you, Ben. Good to see you. I am technically sick, but no, I'm good. I might be symptomatic still. I might get someone sick if I happen to spit in their direction. Shout out from Yakima, Washington. Hell yeah, what's going on in Yakima? Grizzly bears. I'm an insomniac, so you're part of my routine that helps me get to sleep. Well, I'm glad you do. It really sucks whenever I like try to switch up my sleep schedule. I feel like I used to be able to like pass out at like 3 or 4 pretty easy. And now I can't. Deltarune is a video game series made by the guy who made Undertale. Oh. Yeah, I never played it before. I don't even know if I finished Undertale all the way. Yakima. Oh, there you go. Yakima. Sarah TR with the two says, one's like Antebellum, Get Out, Us, and Beloved. I've seen the Jordan Peele ones. I haven't seen Beloved or Antebellum. It was my little sister's B-Day today, so she made us all watch Teen Beach Movie. And let me tell you, that movie is wild. Forget how crazy Disney is. Interesting. I haven't heard none of that. I've been watching Love on the Spectrum. If you've never seen it, it's probably the best show on television. On Netflix, that is. This week at work, one of the psych patients told my coworker, "You look like the first lamb I put down on my farm." Holy shit, that's awesome. And then it cuts to your coworker, and they're just actually a lamb just sitting there looking innocent. Bah. Finna open a Budweiser 16 ounce in a bit. A little bit of a tall boy. Wishing everyone a lovely day, evening, getting ready to do some chores and binge Stalker Stories. Loving waking up to Joel and live. Hey, thank you. Good to see you, Fangs. We both have autism, don't we? That's good to know. Yeah. The show's fun. It's like every character in that show is so lovable and so funny. They just don't give a fuck. They say whatever they want to say. And in many ways, you just kind of relate to everything they say. Where they're like, well, that was an awkward silence, huh? You've got a firm handshake there. It's so funny. I like this music. Boop, 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 doo, doo. Your stuff's lagging. I'm sorry, dog. Unlucky. I don't know why. How many stories tonight? We got 6 dark family histories. I need to figure out the title, though. Yeah, they're saying, yeah, my inner monologue. Yeah, for sure. Got my Creed tickets. No, are they playing and where are they playing? The girl Danny on the so funny when she talks about wanting to do the deed. I know, yeah, they all have really specific expectations or desires for, when that one kid, Connor, he's he just hyper specifically really wants a girl that likes dorky movies like him, Star Wars and Transformers and stuff. And then then the girl that he gives another shot to actually fucking loves Transformers and they both have the same breed of dog, and it's named after a Star Wars character, and he's like, huh, that's interesting. And then immediately you just know that they're fucking perfect for each other. But then there's other ones that there's been a few, this one girl, she didn't know she was, she didn't get diagnosed autistic till 17 or something, and she's now on the show 18. And then she was dating people on the show that I just feel weren't, I don't know, they just, they say they were autistic, but I just, didn't get the vibe that it was the same sort of, feel. And it just felt almost in a weird way, it felt like there were some people who were dating, or at least going on the dates, that just felt like almost exploitative, I guess I could say. Like, it just seemed like if they started dating for real, it just didn't seem appropriate in a weird kind of way. Yeah, I'm still a little sick. I'm fine though. Just got the snoifles. You never seen Love on the Spectrum? It's a good show, honestly. It's just like it's like there's funny moments, but then you also just like are rooting for them the whole fucking time, you know? Oh shit. The time has come. Sweet. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. More yammering. It's alright, we can yammer about whatever. No time constraints. The world is our... oysters? Lobster? I don't know. The world is our lobster. Also, I've been playing Helldivers 2. Pretty cool game. Pretty cool in concept and execution as well. Unfortunately, their like login systems have been kind of fucked for whatever reason. You try to get in and you gotta like wait forever. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their dev team's going, you know. The game kind of came out of nowhere, so they really didn't do any sort of testing on that back-end aspect. Did I get my gun nest? I did, actually. I feel like I haven't had much time since my friends were playing that game now, the Helldivers game. So I haven't really gotten to try the gun nest in Enlisted. But I did get to put it down a few times, and you know, but I haven't gotten to like have a, you know, full-on fucking D-Day experience or whatever. Andrew Batts with the 5 says, love the SPR chats. Cheaper way to get attention than paying a call girl with no risk of an STD and without the potential of getting stabbed by a pimp. There you go. There's always an option in life. How's my cat? Last time I was in, Kitty was having issues. Oh, he's good. He was good. He's not around right now, but yeah, I think he's good. Poo deep. Oh yeah, with his poop. No, he's been good. I don't know what that was about. Okay. Let's do this thing. 6 stories tonight. Thanks for being here. Click that like button. Click share. Click clickety clackety klook. Just click anything. If you see it, the nuclear launch codes, type those in. Soph, good to see you. No worries. Thank you, thank you. All right. It's weird with 2 uploads a week now, like time just feels like it's flying by even faster. It's very strange. Starla, thank you. Appreciate you. And Katie, love from the UK. Hey, love from the US of A. Growing up, I always knew my family was different. When I was 7, we moved from a crummy single-bedroom downtown apartment to a 5-bedroom, 3-story suburban with a swimming pool and a tennis court in the backyard. It was a huge move, but I was just a kid, more concerned with Pokemon and Little League than why or how we'd that sounded weird. Oh yeah, Robin, our thumbnail guy and friend, he broke his ankle. So he is in the hospital right now. I don't know if he'll pop into the stream or not. I'm not sure what he's getting into. He's probably resting, but wish him well. Send him a prayer, whatever it is you would do for him. He appreciates, but unfortunately right now he had a bit of a crack in the old leg. It got slippy out there in Wintertown. It was a huge move, but I was just a kid, more concerned with Pokemon and Little League than why or how we'd relocated. I love my brand new, very own bedroom, and I love the backyard and the pool and all that stuff. But not once did I ever ask how or why we'd moved there. I also very naively thought that just because we'd moved to a place like that, we were exactly the same folks as the people who were now our neighbors. But it was only when I started to hang out with some of the neighborhood kids that I really noticed how different we were. One of the first things I noticed was that pretty much everyone talked differently than we did. I don't want to say exactly where I'm from, but the inner city accent. I don't want to say exactly where I'm from, but the inner city, I don't know why I keep saying that weird. Fuck. Whatever. You know what, last time I was sick and I was reading and I was kind of worried about interference of it, but I just didn't care and it was fine, so I'm just not going to care now either. I don't want to say exactly where I'm from, but the inner city accent is very distinct from the one in the suburbs, and since it was such an obvious change, that was the first major thing that struck me as different. The next thing was the way the other kids' parents acted. Both my mom and dad smoked cigarettes. They smoked inside when we lived in the apartment, like I had quite vivid memories of having ashtrays around and stuff, but when we moved, they tried to smoke outside to keep from messing up their new house. This meant that Mom was almost permanently lounging on one of the patio chairs, smoking a cigarette with either a coffee or a glass of wine. But when it came to other moms, they didn't smoke. I never saw them drinking, and they never, ever cursed in front of their kids. On top of that, other moms seemed to actually do stuff. They had jobs, careers, or they were members of the PTA or the HOA or any number of other TLAs, these three-letter acronyms. There were a lot of nannies in other kids' families because both of their parents had very busy schedules. But all my mom did was lounge around the house, occasionally go out to get her nails or hair done, while my dad stayed away at work for days at a time. I also had no idea what my dad did for a living. Other kids knew exactly what their dad or mom did for work, be it a doctor or lawyer or whatever, but I think I must have been around 11 or 12 the first time I actually asked him how he made his money, and all he told me was shipping, and that his job was boring. Like I said, I kind of knew we were different. I just didn't see anything wrong with it, and on its own, there is nothing wrong with a working-class family making themselves some money and then moving up in the world. But in my family's case, things weren't that simple, and they weren't that innocent either. One afternoon, in my freshman year of high school, the vice principal pulled me out of class and called me to her office. I thought that I might have done something wrong, so I was already kind of nervous when I got to her office. But when I saw her sitting at her desk with one of my aunts sitting in front of her, I realized something else was happening, and whatever it was very clearly bad. It wasn't even so much that my aunt was there, it was the look on both of their faces. They obviously had bad news to share with me, and up until that point, it was the worst news I'd ever received in my entire life. My mom and dad had gone missing, and for the foreseeable future I'd be staying with my aunt. Now, there are two things you need to know here. First off, missing wasn't some kind of stand-in word for something else. They hadn't been in some kind of horrible accident, not to our knowledge anyway, and there was no sign of them being hurt in any way. Instead, they were just gone. My aunt had been due to meet with my parents in the morning, just after I left for school, but when she arrived, there was no one home. The cars are in the driveway, the TV is on, but neither of my parents were anywhere to be found. My aunt got in through an unlocked back door, same one we always kept unlocked, and chilled in the house for a while in the hopes that they might soon return. But they didn't, and after looking all morning for them, she realized something weird and potentially very bad was going on. This was before cell phones were widespread too, so there was no calling them to see where they were, only calling places that they might be to see if they were there. But again, there's no sign of either my parents at any of their usual hangouts, so she swings by my school to make sure I'm okay, and that's when I got called into the office. Second thing you need to know, my aunt wasn't really my aunt. I had a whole bunch of aunts and uncles who weren't really related to me, and I know what you're thinking, but no, it wasn't some Italian-American thing with an Uncle Vinny and Uncle Tommy kind of thing, but that sounded weird. Fuck. Bro got a stuffy nose, this is true. But I can't really, I just can't make it unstuffed. It's not runny, but it's just fucking, it just sounds stuffy. I can't empty my sinuses or whatever. Hey, Adder, take care. I had a whole bunch of aunts and uncles who weren't really related to me. And I know what you're thinking, but no, it wasn't some Italian-American thing with an Uncle Vinny and Uncle Tony. It was a whole bunch of people who were around my family when I was growing up who basically took on that status to me. And that was another kind of weird thing. I didn't have much family in the traditional sense. I have these vague memories of seeing a grandpa when I was very young, but then when it came to who'd be taking care of me in the absence of my parents, it fell on my aunt. I'm not saying I'm not grateful for that. She treated me like I was her own flesh and blood. Always had done. I'm not saying I'm not grateful for that. She treated me like I was her own flesh and blood. Always had done, hence the name aunt. But that was definitely another weird inconsistency that I noticed as time went by. Other kids had blood relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents they saw on the regular. But not me. I didn't have anyone but this motley assortment of my parents' friends and associates who all stopped by to pass on their condolences and ask if they could help out. I say condolences like someone knew that they were dead or something, but it wasn't like that. They were just sorry that I was going through something so awful and, like me, hoped my parents would show up again soon. Anyway, from the ages of 14 to about 19, I really struggled with the fact that they seemed to have just disappeared. Eventually, there came a point where it was very obvious that people were expecting to find bodies, and not live people, and the most messed up thing is I actually wish that were true. In my mind, I'd rather they had been killed in some freak accident than they willfully abandoned me. Not just me either. They left their entire lives behind and they didn't even bother to tell us why. Did I matter that little to them? That they'd just up and run off like that without even saying goodbye? That was the question that had me wishing that they were dead. Not something I'm proud to look back on, but it was a way of dealing with the pain of it all, I guess. Then, after 5 years of adjusting to the idea that I was never going to see or hear from my parents ever again, I got home from work one day to find my aunt sitting in the TV room with a friend of hers. The friend was someone that I'd come to know over the years. Not quite an aunt, but definitely someone I knew and liked. My aunt told me to sit down, and for the first time in a long time, I got that same creeping dread that I was about to hear some bad news. I remember just straight up asking my aunt, "Did they find Mom and Dad?" and she said no, but that the thing that they wanted to talk to me about was related to them. And like I said, I'd long accepted the idea that they disappeared somehow, possibly in like a kidnap or home invasion gone wrong or something. So to learn that there was some kind of new development, all I felt was curiosity, and really nothing more. My aunt then told me in the next couple of days I was probably going to hear some stuff about my mom and dad. I asked what kind of stuff and from who. My aunt and her friend looked at each other, and then my aunt said, "You're going to hear some stuff about your mom and dad, and it's going to be in the news or on TV and probably in the paper too." As you can probably imagine, this brought everything to a whole different level. It was one thing to have this personal tragedy of my parents just disappearing, but then to not only hear about it, it was... Ordered some natural ultimate calm. What's that? We got 6 stories tonight. Okay. It was one thing to have this personal tragedy of my parents just disappearing, but then to not only hear that it was about to be broadcast to the whole world, but that new details were about to emerge. I actually know what people mean when they say that something made their head completely spin. My aunt then told me that in order for me to understand what I was going to hear, I needed some context, and that context was this. My mom and dad were good people, as in their hearts had always been in the right place, but they made their money in a way that wasn't at all fuck. My mom and dad were good people, as in their hearts had always been in the right place, but they made their money in a way that wasn't at all legal. Then, prior to their disappearance, something happened which may or may not have been related to them vanishing. All I needed to know is that that thing was a mistake, a terrible one, and not something my dad would have ever done on purpose. I asked my aunt what that thing was, and she told me, but honestly, you're better hearing it in the way the newsreaders talked about it, because if there was one thing that I've learned, it's that the truth really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what everyone chooses to believe is the truth, and I guess a lot of that is dedicated. The only thing that matters is what everyone chooses to believe is the truth. And I guess a lot of that is dictated by whoever writes the headlines. Basically, around the time of my 14th birthday, a truck with one of those chiller cabs. Chiller cabs? But around the time of my 14th birthday, a truck with one of those cabs, the kind that you use to transport frozen seafood, was found abandoned at a truck stop just outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. It sat there for a day or two before someone finally called the cops, who showed up, inspected the thing, and then busted open the cab to see what was inside. They found a whole bunch of dead, frozen meat in there. It just didn't belong to any farm animal or sea creature. It belonged to the 30-plus corpses of illegal migrants that had hopped into the wrong truck before it came across the border. It caused a big stir down in the Southwest, but not up where we lived, so I literally didn't hear anything about it until my aunt told me about it. Anyway, the FBI had been hacking their way up the chain of human traffickers before they finally figured out who was in charge of that particular trafficking route, and that person was my father. I remember seeing his pictures on the news and thanking God that my aunt had given me the heads up, because if I had no idea, and I saw all that, I think I'd have puked and passed out or something. My aunt had told me that my dad just wanted to help people get into the country who wouldn't be able to do so otherwise for whatever reason. If it meant that he could make money doing it, then fine, it was a living. I guess that all those... I think it's so interesting to see the side of the video where it's being made. It's almost like the illusion is shattered, but I think I might like this even more. Yeah, it's fun, you know? It's interesting, and like, you know, especially when people see me having a conniption on stream sometimes, and then they hear the final product like stitched together, and you're like, huh, it sounds so peaceful now. Yeah, you guessed a drug mule, but I guess this is not quite a drug mule, but definitely, you know, human trafficking related to something similar. Had a friend who served 5 years for human smuggling. Interesting. What did they do? You ever thought about narrating audiobooks? I've thought about it. I just, I guess the book would just have to actually be interesting. I've had a lot of people like randomly message me about doing like, you know, like vampire, werewolf, erotica type shit, you know. Nothing against it. I just, not really like my cup of tea. And if the money is not going to be like more than just like typical YouTube, then I just don't really see the point. Because it's going to take a lot of fucking time to bust through like a multi-100-page novelette, you know, compared to just one YouTube video. I do a great vampire, thank you. Blah, blah. I actually did some lines for as a character on Dark Somnium's channel. He's probably I don't know how long it'll take him to edit it, but the story does seem interesting at the very least. So, and he said I did well on my lines, so I'm excited to hear how it all kind of stitches together, because he does a really good job with sound engineering and all that kind of stuff. So it should be sick. Brought immigrants over from Mexico and got caught. My wife's coworker, our son, also got caught for the same thing. Cartel convinced him to smuggle immigrants, and he got caught as well. Dude was only 17. Yeah, and that's the tough thing too, is that like, you know, even if, you know, it's always the plata o plomo type thing. It's like you either take the money or you get led, you know. So it's like you either take the money or they shoot you in the head. So it's, you know, it's a tough fucking world out there. Sometimes it's best to just run away as far as you can from that shit. I guess that all those dead migrants, that was his big mistake. The buck stopped at him after all those accidental deaths were discovered, and I don't know if my parents just wanted to get ahead of everything and left right away, or someone in the same organization decided that he was a loose end that needed tying up. But either way, the timing of it, as in the fact that the deaths happened just a few weeks before they disappeared, meant it was probably related to their disappearance in some way. And as you can imagine, it's not something I particularly enjoy talking about with people, but this way, anonymously I mean, it actually feels kind of good to get it all off of my chest. I don't know where my parents are, if they're alive or not, or if I could ever find it in my heart to forgive them. But I hope that they're twerking in heaven. Ree with the big 30. Thank you so much. Just hope your night gets better. I love you in the butter socks. Good night, y'all. Good night, Ree. Thank you for the big twerkable amount there. Appreciate you, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you. I don't know where my parents are. That sounded weird, fuck. I don't know where my parents are, if they're alive or not, or if I could ever find it in my heart to forgive them. But I hope that one day I can at least get the opportunity to talk to them, even if it is some kind of deathbed exchange. I know they did some truly awful things, and I know they deserve to be punished for what they did, but they're still my parents, and I've still missed them every single day since the moment I found out that they were gone. Damn. Zam. Okay. Story. Gonna be kind of hard to top that one. Also, I didn't realize last stream the number of takes it took to actually get through a full solid 9,000 words or whatever was 64. I wouldn't say that was a record per se, but I noticed that we got done with the stream in 2.5 hours, which is way faster than normal. It almost made me wonder if we didn't have as much of a word count or whatever, but I guess I was just banging through it. Oh yeah, let me turn on live chat. I don't know why it always just goes to top. I don't understand the difference between top chat and live chat. This doesn't make any sense. As if though everyone's upvoting words. You found out about a secret uncle when you did an ancestry test. Wild story. Interesting. He died or something? I don't get top, comma, chat. Sorry. He was a top secret spy uncle? Holy shit. He was watching you from his treehouse. Only tops can post. Found out your mom had a twin brother she didn't know about till grandma died. Interesting. Where did the twin brother end up? They split it up, gave it to an aunt. When I was a kid, I always believed my paternal grandmother was no longer with us. We only ever visited family on my mom's side, and we'd get visits from my paternal aunt and uncle, but I always figured that we never saw or spoke of my dad's mother because she was no longer with us. Well, as it turned out, she was alive when I was growing up, and she didn't pass until it... Well, as it turns out, she was alive when I was growing up, and she didn't pass on until I was in my early 20s. In their defense, Mom and Dad never actually said she was dead. They just never, ever brought her up. To me, Grandma and Grandpa were literally the names of the two older folks that I visited every other weekend, and for years, I didn't even realize that those weren't there. To me, Grandma and Grandpa were literally the names of the two older folks that I visited every other weekend, and for years, I didn't even realize those weren't their names, and that I was supposed to have another pair of grandparents on my dad's side. I'm sure I might have asked at some point, I just don't remember it, and so I grew up thinking both my dad's parents were deceased. But then, years later, my paternal grandmother actually dies, at which point my parents decided that then was the best time to tell me about her. I don't know why they took it upon themselves to do so, but there's a lot I don't understand about my parents, so excuse me if I just toss that onto the stack of other crap that mystifies me about them. They could have told me all about what I'm about to tell you when she was alive, when I could have actually done something about it. But they waited until there was nothing I could do or say about it that would really matter, and I guess I still resent them a little for that. But then I can already hear you asking, what awful thing did Grandma do that meant my parents didn't breathe a word of her until she was dead? Well, I'm about to tell you. So my dad's side of the family is all Polish, and his mom was, well, kinda crazy. It wasn't her insisting on him marrying a Polish girl that made her crazy. That was a pretty common thing. It was all the crazy things that she did that made everyone think that she was crazy. My grandpa pretty much hated her. He only stayed because they were hardcore Catholic, and she made life pretty hard for my dad and his two siblings. But they didn't know any different. They just thought that that was family. They didn't realize other families actually made an attempt to be happy, or how other parents had some semblance of emotional maturity. And in my dad's case, he only realized things could be different when he met my mom. Her family is Cuban, and they're crazy in their own way, trust me, but the grandparents grew up with... Her family is Cuban, and they're crazy in their own way, trust me. But the grandparents I grew up with are some of the lovingest grandparents of all time. Some of the grandparentingest grandparents of all time. Her family is Cuban, and they're crazy in their own way, trust me. But the grandparents I grew up with are some of the most loving and welcoming people you could ever wish to meet. All they gave a damn about was if Dad treated Mom okay, and if he did, so they treated him like their own flesh and blood. Dad put off introducing Mom to Grandma. His own dad had passed by that point because he knew that she'd only react badly. But Mom being Mom, she insisted that they at least give it a try, so Dad calls Grandma and tells her that he has a girlfriend. Grandma was actually all pleased for him at least. What? Grandma? Oh. My great-grandmother disavowed every single one of her grandchildren because they did things like married Catholics or joined a different political party. That's stupid. I don't know. Some people are just, since they're very young, or I don't know, who knows what age it starts at, but identity shit is just like so ingrained into them that any deviation from that is considered sin. Hey Lucas, good to see you, dude. Grandma was acting all pleased for him at least, but Dad could tell it was just an act. She'd only be truly happy once she'd heard the girl was Polish, so when she heard Mom's background was Cuban, she was not happy. She wasn't particularly unhappy. God, saying like particularly or any words with like early, larlerly, it's like one of the biggest tongue twisters ever for some reason. She wasn't particularly unhappy about it though. Like she didn't slam the phone down or start giving my dad the cold shoulder, and she actually agreed to the offer of a meeting over dinner. And this was a huge thing. Dad thought she had gone nuts if she brought... My God, I don't understand why I can't fucking find a rhythm here. Dad thought she'd go nuts if he brought home a Cuban girl, so to have her even agree to a meeting was like a really hopeful sign. Anyway, so a few weeks go by and it finally comes time for Mom and Grandma's first meeting. Grandma insists on doing the cooking, and when Mom and Dad arrive, she told them that she'd made a kind of stew called bigos. Let's look that up. Let's look it up. Bigos. Grandma insists on doing the cooking, and when Mom and Dad arrive, she told them that she made a kind of stew called bigos. Bigos is actually pretty good. Like, imagine a stew with a little fruity fragrance to it, but just like my paternal grandma, I didn't even know it existed until I was like 23. And then weirdly enough, it was for the exact same reason too. So things are actually going much better than expected. The bigos is good, grandma's being nice, but then Mom seems to have a real problem with her food. Mom wasn't a fussy. Mom wasn't a fussy eater or anything, but she was clearly just trying to be nice when she was calling it delicious. But then, it really was delicious. Grandma had clearly worked hard on it, and even way back then, Mom was open-minded and adventurous with food. The whole thing that my dad... Damn. I was like doing fine. Now my brain can't... I don't know what the fuck. I just can't follow this shit. But then, it really was delicious. Grandma had clearly worked hard on it, and even way back then, Mom was open-minded and adventurous with food. The whole thing had my dad sitting there thinking, just what the hell is going on? Dinner carries on for a little while longer, and Mom throws in the towel after just a few more spoonfuls. Grandma asks if she's okay, and Mom says that she must be feeling a little under the weather. But then, suddenly, seconds later, Mom actually projectile pukes onto the table, like it caught her completely by surprise. She covers her mouth, totally mortified, then runs off to the bathroom to finish throwing up. Dad is completely flabbergasted by what's going on, but he figures Mom must really be sick or something, so he starts looking around the kitchen for some paper towels or a cloth or whatever to clean up Mom's puke. Only then does Grandma actually react to what's going on, and tells my dad to sit down and finish his food while she's going off to get the paper towels. And to him, this doesn't make one single solitary bit of sense. Grandma was a huge germaphobe, and there was no way that she'd allow anyone to eat at a table with vomit on it, especially not her food. Fuck. Grandma was a huge germaphobe, and there's no way that she'd allow anyone to eat on a table with vomit on it, especially not her food. So to Dad, there had to be some ulterior motive for her unusual behavior. She starts shooing him back towards the dinner table, but he insists on checking in the cabinet under the kitchen sink for a dish towel. But then when he does, Grandma actually puts herself in the way of the cabinets, legit like she's trying to hide something. Things are starting to look pretty dark at this point. Mom got randomly sick, and Grandma looks like she's hiding something, so, as you can imagine, my dad is starting to freak out. He basically shoves Grandma out of the way, opens the kitchen cabinet, and there, half hidden by a bunch of plastic tubs and kitchen utensils, was a bottle of bleach. And here's what you gotta understand about Grandma, or at least this is what I heard from my dad. Grandma was crazy, really crazy. And remember I said that she was a total germaphobe? Well, she was terrified of chemicals too. Everything that had to be all natural, including all the cleaning products that she'd used. Grandma used to use a lot of old-fashioned Castile soap, a lot of baking soda, and a lot of salt and a lot of cornstarch, for anyone sort of dropping at the For anyone scoffing at the idea of using cornstarch to clean windows or shampoo carpets, it might seem nuts, but that's just what people used before chemical cleaning products became household items. Grandma didn't trust any of chemical. Grandma didn't trust any kind of chemical. She just did trust. Jesus Christ. I don't understand. I'm like, it's so weird. Grandma didn't trust any kind of chemical, but she did trust stuff like white vinegar to clean almost everything, which is why my dad, aunt, and uncle grew up in a house that perennially smelled like vinegar, and all despise the smell of that stuff now as a result. So the fact that there was suddenly this bottle of bleach under the kitchen sink, my dad said it was this moment of awful realization. It hadn't been that Mom hadn't enjoyed her stew. Grandma had tried to poison her. The way Dad tells it, he never figured in a zillion years that Grandma would ever admit to doing something like that, so at first, he didn't think that there was any point asking her. But then at the same time, he couldn't not ask her, so he does. But instead of the lie that he expected to hear, Grandma told him the truth. Yes, she had put bleach in Mom's stew, but it was just a tiny amount, not enough to really make her sick. She didn't want to kill Dad's new girlfriend, but she was hoping to kill the baby, if there was one growing inside of her. Grandma figured that the only reason Dad was bringing this girl home to meet her was because Mom was pregnant, and that's just the way Grandma was. No one could do anything for any good reason or out of the kindness of their heart. There had to be some ulterior motive, something bad that they were masking with the good. So when she heard about Dad's new girlfriend, she was convinced it was the worst-case scenario, and in her mind, that worst-case scenario involved a non-Polish girl being pregnant with her grandchild. Now luckily, Mom was not pregnant, but obviously that didn't matter in the least. Dad had known Grandma to do some screwed up things in her time, but trying to poison one of his girlfriends was obviously a different thing entirely. It obviously caused a huge fight, and I mean a huge one. Things got smashed, the cops got called, Grandma threatened to stab herself and had the cops pointing their guns at her, because she suddenly forgot all of her English and started talking only in Polish with a big old kitchen knife in her hand. It was a huge thing that everyone in their neighborhood talked about for a long time. But in the immediate aftermath, all my dad cared about was what was going to happen between his mom and his girlfriend. Incredibly, Mom told him that she couldn't press charges against Grandma, but only under one. She wouldn't. Graham. Incredibly, Mom told him that she wouldn't press charges against Grandma, but only under one condition. She didn't mind if my dad kept in contact with her, but she didn't want my grandma around if they started a family. That way, Grandma didn't get a charge, all respective relationships could continue, and any future children they had, i.e. me, would be 100% safe from that psycho wannabe baby killer. My dad agreed, and kept in touch with his mom for a while too. He tried to get her to apologize, but she wouldn't, because she literally doesn't even regret trying to perform a home abortion. On my mom. Dad cut her off when he realized how far gone... Damn. I don't know why it's so fucking hard. Dad cut her off when he realized how far gone she was. She'd been getting worse and worse ever since her husband, my dad's dad, had passed away from a heart attack, but I guess no one realized just how bad she'd gotten until she tried to delete future me. I know I wasn't actually at risk in that situation, but you get the idea. I don't resent my mom and dad for keeping me from having a relationship with my paternal grandma. I resent them because I never got the chance to tell her to burn in hell. Maybe if she came to realize what a terrible thing she'd done, maybe then we'd have been able to have a relationship. But hearing how unrepentant she was, how her own son had tried his best and she threw it back in his face, that makes me hate her in ways that are impossible to put into words. Hey Kimmy, good to see you. Kimmy Crypto, do you trade in the cryptocurrencies? What's up, Luke Duke? Anything cool happen in the world lately? Anything worth talking about? Oh shit. Almost overflowed. You're rewatching Dragon Ball Z? Interesting. That's a lot of episodes to get through. How do you feel in the Dragon Ball series how just almost every time they just sort of like invent a new level? You know what I mean? Like there's a bad guy, he's super strong. They come up with some new thing like Super Saiyan Blue. Or, you know, Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan 2, and Super Saiyan 3, and Super Saiyan 4, and Super Saiyan Mega Monkey Mode. And it just goes up and up and up and up and up forever. Meanwhile, guys like Yamcha, and Tien, and Krillin, Goku, I'm not very strong. I'm not very strong. I feel like humans should have like some sort of untapped potential that they just bring out of nowhere. The Saiyans just get to get infinitely powerful over and over. Yamcha died? When did he die? You gotta decalcify your penis gland. I'm trying, dude. Krillin represents all of us, yeah. All he's ever had was just like a fucking Destructo disc, which is sick. But I feel like didn't it cut off Piccolo's arm, and then that's been the only thing that it's really cut off since. Now they just use it for circumcisions. A 40th anniversary? That's fucking wild, dude. Can't even imagine. Just like creating a series that's like still relevant almost half a century later. It's gonna be crazy. Oh yeah, solar flare. I guess solar flare is useful sometimes. You know, maybe after this one I'll run up and use my like neti pot thing. just to like clear out my sinuses. Because it feels like it's just right up at the back, you know what I mean, of the nose, where everything's gathered. I just feel like if it clears out a little bit. A new game and series come out this year. That'd be cool. I feel like those Dragon Ball games continue to get better and better as far as like their animation looking more and more like the anime. I'll get a brain amoeba. No, not this time. I've got distilled water and some saline bullshit. We're good. I cracked open a mango turmeric kombucha. It's pretty good. Hey Audrey, thank you for the 10 buccarinos. My goodness. Joel, today was my first day at my second job and was amazing. Expecting to make $14.50 an hour plus $300 in tips. Oh shit. Also, hope you liked my little drawing I made for your last week. Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you. I think I retweeted it. So I appreciate that. Or no, it was on Instagram, so I put it on, Instagram story. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for the 10. And congrats on the cool job. Yeah, tip jobs are like some of the best paying ones. Like I remember working at a bar and some of the girls, we'd have to like escort them to a fucking ATM because they'd be like walking out with like $800 in tips. It was bonkers. Do I have any methamphetamine? No, I don't think so. When I was growing up, I had a friend who told me this wild story about his family's history. It wasn't totally unbelievable, but it was very, very far-fetched, and whatever shred of credibility it had evaporated when he asked me, "Don't tell my mom I told you this." We were 12, going on 13 at the time, so I was old enough and smart enough to realize that when my friend told me, "Please don't try and verify this," what I should be hearing was, nothing I just said was true. But then, the more I thought about it, the more I felt kind of insulted that my buddy thought that I was dumb enough to believe such an outrageous story. And so I took it upon myself to try and embarrass him a little, and concocted a scheme to inflict some petty revenge. I guess that doesn't make me sound like a very good friend, but we were just dumb kids, and if anything, this whole incident actually brought us closer over the long run. But at the same time, I just couldn't resist myself, and in doing so, I well and truly kicked a hornet's nest. But anyway, squeak. But anyway, so I'm sitting at the kitchen table in my friend's house. Me and him are having some dinner, and his mom is kind of wandering around the kitchen doing dishes and stuff. The three of us are talking about nothing in particular, when suddenly I asked my buddy's mom, "Hey, Mrs. P, is it true your family used to be gangsters?" I expected her to say something like, "No, what are you talking about?" And for my buddy to just get embarrassed or something. But instead, she froze, and without looking around at us, said to my buddy in a voice filled with tension, "Tell your friend that he has to go home, now." My buddy looked like he was about to pass out, like he turned so pale that he was a little green, and then he did as his mom asked. He told me that I had to go home, and I did. As I rode my bike back over to my parents' place, I felt like the biggest piece of crap in the history of pieces of crap. But I also couldn't believe what he had told me was true. It sounded so much like bullcrap that I was convinced that it was just that. But from what I could tell from his mom's reaction, every word my buddy said was true. She'd obviously sworn him to secrecy, and he trusted me enough to tell me all about his family's dark past. And then in response, I'd completely and utterly betrayed him, all while unwittingly relishing the chance to do so. He was grounded for a long time afterward, and his mom took literally years to warm back up to me. She didn't try to keep us separated or anything. I guess she just didn't like the fact that I knew. And this, all of you who are patiently listening to me, I appreciate that, is what I knew. Back during Prohibition days, my buddy's family were the most prolific bootleggers in the entire Ozarks. They covered southern Missouri, western Tennessee, northeast Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, and part of Kansas. They also supplied elements of the Italian mafia over in St. Louis, who in turn sold the booze for a huge markup. They were based over near a place called Ava in Missouri, but when they started out there was already a bunch of different outfits running liquor, and they were doing it in a kind of syndicate. They controlled the market, leaving no room for anyone else. So, how did my buddy's family muscle their way onto the scene, you might ask? Well, the answer to that is sheer goddamn brutality. A group of around a dozen different brothers, uncles, and cousins, all young, wild, and hungry enough to do something so goddamn crazy, they get together and they decide that they're going to go to war. Only they don't fight fair at all. The bootlegging syndicate idea of fighting fair involved hosing each other down with Tommy guns and bars in broad daylight. But my buddy's family, they killed those men in their homes, in their beds. They took their time over it, and they never, ever left any witnesses. They were ruthless in the very sense of the word. They didn't care if they had to kill women or old men or kids, and no one could know who they were. And in the end, they just sort of ran out of people to kill. Any bootlegger with a brain between their ears got the hell out of Douglas County. It was all about who wanted it the most, and my buddy's family simply showed that they did. Eventually, the family took over the entire bootlegging business in Douglas County and began to spread out to all the areas they ended up covering. But then everywhere they went, they kept on stamping out the competition in the only way they knew how. Whenever they expanded into a new area, the competition could either join forces with them and keep a cut of their earnings, or they could just pack up, move someplace else, and carry on keeping all their money. Anyone who defied them, they took it like a personal insult, like they were taking food out of their mouths. And what was the old-timey punishment for stealing food? Execution. My buddy told me that this was the small-time distillery Sandlot sequel, History of Benny the Jet. Yeah, that was his life. Joel's banging these stories out tonight. I wouldn't if you guys were able to successfully distract me, but I need you to, I don't know, I need you to think of something for me to talk about. Just anything. Take me somewhere. My buddy told me that there was this small-time distillery someplace that didn't want to shut up shop when the family rolled into town. They were around... Fuck, I took a drink and now I'm like salivating. Talking about weightlifting. Do I ever rage quit stories? I don't think so. Unless they if they really suck, I do. But does that happen? I don't know. Sometimes. Some of them. Talk about weightlifting. Yeah, I don't know what to say about weightlifting anymore. I do find it really weird. I'm noticing that a lot of people in interviews and stuff, like street interviews, asking if someone is natural, a lot of people don't think that taking testosterone is steroids, which is really fucking weird to me. A lot of people only consider that you're taking steroids if you're on other substances and stuff, and it's just what the fuck are you talking about? Taking any testosterone can put you at an immediate 3 to 4 times advantage over another lifter. Like you could go up to like 200, and you know what I mean? The same lifters one could be like 200 pounds and another one could be 255 pounds of like pure muscle, just based on the fact that he's shooting test. It's just fucking stupid. C Money, welcome back for 9 months. Gestating in the Buttersock call. So say hi to my new friend Ashton, aka Kiss My Stigmata. He's been a long time listener, first time to a live tonight. Well, welcome, Ashton. Good to see you. And thank you, C Money, for 9 months. A lot of people do TRT, new weird craze I've been noticing. I think it's just, I don't know. Everybody just I guess steroids have been around for so long, but people getting into lifting, I don't know. In my millennial generation, there are obviously people on steroids, but you just don't really think about it too much. But it seems like even more nowadays, and maybe it's just because of social media, it just seems like if you want to be a person that does that kind of shit, you almost like have to be on something. Like the one thing that pisses me the fuck out, like I like the one guy, you probably seen his videos, and they're good videos. His name's like Mike Israetel. Like I like Mike Israetel in his videos and shit, and he gives good info and doesn't really sugarcoat it and stuff. But like, I know he doesn't hide his steroidal use or whatever. Like it's pretty clear that he's on it, but I don't know. There's just something abstract about like somebody being on gear, but then trying to like explain shit to someone who's natural. To me, it just feels like disingenuous unless you like are obvious about the fact that you're on gear every time. Because like when you tell someone information, the reason that they're even trusting you most of the time is because they're looking at you. And I know, I don't know, they'll sit there and jerk about and be like, it doesn't matter, it's about, all it does is amplify your genetics, and it's all about the hard work. And it's like, no, it's fucking not, you dumb asshole. Like you literally can make like 10 years of fucking progress in like a year on different gear. And it just, I don't know, man, it just feels so false to like not make it like blatantly clear in every one of your descriptions of your videos or any of your shit that like I am on 500 milligrams of test and Deca and all that crap. Because it's just, and obviously they'll sit there and say, well, I don't want other people to be at a risk. And it's like, well, why are you putting yourself at risk? And why are you like selling shit whilst using your body the same way the motherfucking Liver King is? You know what I mean? Now, granted, the Liver King was selling some stupid shit while pretending to be natural, even though it was fucking like, his veins had veins and his skin was fucking like stretched onto him like a lizard man. But it just pisses me off that people sit there in the fitness community and criticize him when they're pretty much within the same fucking vein of falsehood. It's just, it's all like implied, Have you watched the cool anime Solo Leveling? I don't think so. What's that about? You have to take meds for weight loss because I've done absolutely fucking everything to lose it, and yet weight is still there. Well, that might be the case. Yeah, I guess if you get testing, you can see your hormones and see how they're, especially if you're taking other medication that may interfere with your hormones. That could really be very difficult. Remember Sam's story? Well, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people look up to Sam Sulek too, and it's like he is a nice guy. Surprisingly, doesn't pop anybody's head for as much shit that he's on. But it's also, that to me is I don't know. I guess he doesn't really set out to really sell much. I know he recently signed on with some sort of team or whatever. I don't know what that's all about. And I'm not some sort of fitness guru and shit, but you really just can't train the same as you can't ever expect to be somebody like Sam. You know what I mean? Even if you work harder than him, you will not be him because you are not juicing, you're not cutting your life short with a heart attack at 45 the way some of these people are, you know? I don't know. The Trend Twins, yeah, I've seen them. Just cringe shit, you know? Like, congratulations, you bench 500 and whatever, but, like, does it even feel authentic? Like, obviously it feels that way. You're putting it up, you're like, yeah, I'm big and shit. But, like, does it really feel like it was you that did it at all? I mean, I don't know. Everyone just, like, randomly gets to be a fucking super soldier with fucking 1/4 the effort put forward, you know? It just doesn't feel fair, which it's not fair, and that's why it's not allowed in sports and shit. But, like, people still look at your social media and all of your stuff and still, like, hold you to the same accolade they would, like, an Olympic weightlifter or something of that nature, you know? Because, no, you know, normal people just don't know how to differentiate that stuff, but they still want to look like you know? Trend hard, eat clean, Anavar give up. I don't know. It's disingenuous to lie about why you use it. It's to get to a place that effortlessly and determination couldn't. I think people use it and play down the effects. I mean, the one interesting videos I've seen is just, like, most average natural bodybuilder, you know, people who build muscle or work out over the course of 10 years, on average, from the time that you started lifting at 15, or say you started lifting at 18 or whatever, you're one of the, you know, you just started, you didn't do it in sports, you just, like, got into it in college or after high school or whatever the fuck. Over the course of 10 years, and you, as a natural bodybuilder, you did everything right, the maximum amount of, like, muscle that you could have, like, not weight, but, like, muscle, like lean muscle mass that you could put on over the course of a decade was like 40 pounds, you know? Whereas some of these guys on steroids are putting on fucking 3 times that much in shorter periods of time, you know? And it's just, like, sure, take pride in your vanity, take pride in how you look, and it feels good, but it becomes an addiction, you know? You look at people like Larry Wheels, who just fucking, you get addicted to, like, pumping the shit into your body, and you know, you're a cool influencer, you give people, like, thoughts on, like, how to, like, peak contract your biceps and all this, all the form. You get to be in the videos, and you get to be in the compilations of big lifters, and your name gets to be on a supplement bullshit, but then it's just like, you're fucking dead, you know? Your heart is fucking rocked by the time you're in your late 40s, and it's, I don't know, unless you get off that shit and know how to, like, transition away from it, you might be fucked. Coffee's your steroid. That's good. That's how it should be. Just coffee and creatine. And then I guess the peptide that I took, which I did finish those, the oral ones. And I will say my shoulder does feel a lot better, but it didn't help me, like, gain any strength or anything. HGH. H2O. How can I work out my eyes to be bigger? Or are there roids for that? I want to be freakish big eyes or ears. I guess you could take, like, LSD that, like, dilates your pupils real big. So Long Dental Plan, welcome back for 8 months as I stopped working out because I wanted people to respect my personality. Just kidding. I just got lazy. That's fair. But you should get back into it so that people will respect your guns. You need steroids for your conditions. Well, it's different type of steroids. You're probably not taking, like, exogenous hormones to, you know, specifically build muscles. It might be something else that they just define as quote-unquote steroids. BB Jean, welcome back for 9 months. gestating. And the Buttersock call says, Joel, you have encouraged me to start lifting in my chair, only 3 pound, but trying. Hey, do it up. Yeah. Whatever your capabilities allow you to do, just keep pushing yourself. Think progressive overload. And who knows, maybe there might be some limitations, but based on like the pulley machines that are at the gym, there might be different things that you can implement to continue to get stronger at certain movements. I don't know exactly what your limitations would be, but who knows, maybe it becomes like a pastime of yours, or you know what I mean, like something you're just like really want to put your time into. When I turned 14, I started to exercise. Before 14, I was fat as fuck. As soon as I became 14, I got slim. Yeah, I mean, ages 14 to like 18, your hormones as you're going through puberty are just fucking insane. You know, your body's changing, you're getting taller, all sorts of just everything is pumping. It's like that's one of the best times in life to work out, just because you can make so much progress in both size building and strength. I remember like as a freshman in high school, we came in to do our squat, and like some of my friends were doing like 315 or something for their first ever squat, which was nuts, but mine was like 135. And you know, I felt kind of down about it. But then by the time I was like a junior, so it was only like two or 3 years later, I was able to do 405. And I don't know, you just don't really think about that kind of stuff back then, but it really does make a huge effect on like in just a short window of like size growth and strength. It's crazy. You signed up for the gym, so proud of yourself. Did an hour workout so far. Nice, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with working out, like once you get onto a program, you don't always have to like beat yourself up every time you're there. You could just, you know, slow and steady wins the race. It just becomes a part of your daily thing. And, you know, obviously diet is going to be huge in that as well. And if you can dial that in with some sleep and hydration, it's going to be so good for your mental health. And you'll start to see your body change, and it gives you confidence, and it's good. You got to get back to the gym. You got depressed. I know you were hitting like 200 or 225 on the squat, you said, and it doesn't sound like it's been that long. So you know, you should be good. Any advice for gym beginners? Definitely just if you can, if there's any programs available or anybody that you know around you that can teach you good form for like some of the major lifts that I think will be the biggest things for you that you can kind of build outwards from is squat, deadlift if you want to do that. There's other things as well. There's like hex bar deadlift, which is safer and also works your quads a little bit more there too. But usually most people just stick with squat, deadlift, shoulder press, or what's called military press, bench press, even though that can be tough on your actual rotator cuff shoulders, but and then pull-ups and that kind of thing just for your back or whatever. But long story short, I'm trying to say is like have someone, if you have them in your life, or someone around you, maybe you can pay them for a couple of weeks of training to like teach you good form, get you on a good program, and then just like now that you know that form, you can do those movements with like the prescribed numbers that, you know, slowly move up over time. And even if you're just focusing only on like strength, like building my deadlift or building my squat, or you know, even if it's not specifically hypertrophy focused, as a new beginner, I will honestly say if you're continuing to get like your appropriate protein and calories in and that kind of thing, you over the course of a year, as you increase your weights for strength, you will see huge growth in your, you know, overall musculature for sure. But form is just going to be the most important thing for you. It's sort of like the teach a man to fish type thing, where it's like once your form is good, you can do that for the rest of your life and stay healthy, and learn new things that you might want to try, because avoiding injury is the number one best thing do. Bring a sweat towel and deodorant before the workout. Not after, but yes. Yeah, that too. You don't want to be too stinky. And then, obviously, get your cardio in if you want. It's good just to get the blood flowing. My buddy told me that there was this small-time distillery someplace that didn't want to shut up shop when the family rolled into town. They were run by another family, not so different from my buddies, who's only wanted to... Man, fuck me. Jesus Christ, the difference between 12 font and 13 font is so weird. It's like... Maybe I'll try it. Oh, they have 12.5.
Do you have this font in 12.5?
No, they don't. They checked in the back. They don't. Fuck. My buddy told me... Okay, here we go. Sorry. My buddy told me that there was this small-time distillery someplace that didn't want to shut up shop when the family rolled into town. They were run by another family, not so different from my buddies, who only wanted to put a few extra dollars in their pocket during the hardest times in living memory. It took them months to track the distillery down, and when they did, it was a massacre. They ambushed their competitors, shot them up, tortured the survivors, then trashed their equipment and burned their bodies. And the thing is, it was a celebration, you know? It had taken them long enough to track those boys down, so it felt good to them, like something worth celebrating. They drank, danced, and played the fiddle around the fire the slain bootleggers' bodies were roasting on. And one time, and this was the part which made me think, there's no way in a million years this actually happened, the family were hunted by some federal men, like from whatever they had before the FBI. The family simply killed those men too. Didn't wait for him to come look for him either. They just found out where their old bureau... Fuck, man. It's like I start to look at the words and then they start to blend together. They just found out where those old bureau men were lodging in town and then sent some boys over in the night to rig their entire boarding house with dynamite. They killed the landlady, the clerk on duty, and a handful of other guests. But most importantly, it got all 4 bureau men. But most importantly, it got all 4 bureau men while they were asleep in their bunks. Poor bastards never knew what hit them. And after that, the feds rolled into Douglas County, intent on putting an end to all the violence. They hunted down my buddy's family, sending any survivors fleeing out of state. And that's how my buddy's family ended up where they were, far from Missouri, and far from places where their names had become a byword for death and destruction. My buddy said that he found all this out from a senior citizen uncle of his who let slip and told him and a bunch of his cousins all about it when he was drunk one time. He then mentioned it to his mom, and it caused a huge fight, and he was sworn to guard the family secret at an age when he was nowhere near ready to do so. And years later, he told me. I asked his mom about it over dinner, and well, you already heard the rest of that story. And that should have been the death of our friendship right there, and I guess it did deliver something of a knockout punch that left our companionship on the mat for a while. But after that, he could have told me that the moon was made of cheese, and I'd have believed every word. It's hard to find that kind of trust in life, and my buddy knew it too. He knew damned well that I'd believe every word he told me from... Is this a real voice or AI? This is real, baby. Real. Real as fuck. Damn, do I really sound like AI? I guess I do kind of sound robotic a little bit. He knew damned well that I'd believe every single word that he told me from there on out, and I guess he understood the value of that just as well as I did. We reunited in spirit during our sophomore year of high school, and we've been friends ever since. That friendship has survived a lot of rough seas too, but it's always survived because there are a few things as rare or as powerful as unquestioning trust. AI tries to be me. They cannot replicate. It's impossible. My voice is very human. 160 pounds was my max, but that required heavy drinking and not moving for a few days. Or I stick to 135 to 140 pounds normally. Like, for what? But if it becomes normal, it just means that you're not, on a program that's like trying to get you stronger. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds like you tried to hit like a 1 rep max on something and got the 160. But if there's like just like days and days and days or months or whatever where you're just only ever like hitting the same weight at the gym for something, I feel like it just means that you need to get onto something that will take those numbers and appropriately, progressively overload you so you can continue to get stronger. The Burger King AI voice is the same as the Spotify voice. Burger King has AI voice. Is there anything you did to become such a good narrator? Well, you can listen to my like oldest videos and you can see how like you just have to I would honestly say just be good and open-minded to changing. You know what I mean? Because you can hear your or hear my old shit and hear how I've changed till now. Excuse me, but just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. What I'm trying to say is like, just try to emulate what you think sounds good, you know? And I know there are natural limitations to everybody's stuff, especially something like voice, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn to find a specific range that you're trying to emulate, if that's what you like, through practice. And who knows, maybe it will get easier and easier over time, but you also don't want it to like hurt your voice and you end up getting a sore throat all the fucking time. Because you still want to like sound natural, or it to feel natural, especially like narration where you're going to be doing it for long periods of time. But yeah, it's sometimes it takes many tries to like get it to where you want it to be. But I would say the only way to get good at something is to just do it over and over again. Hey Richard, good to see you. You have a radio voice, so do what you want with that. All right, I'll start a YouTube channel with it. I had one med that made me gain 50 pounds in a week. Holy shit, a week? I stopped it with the doctor's blessing and lost it in a month without changing anything. I wonder if it was just all like crazy water retention or some shit, or like ascites, or I don't know. Isn't that Einstein's definition of insanity? No, it's not. Yeah, I got a gargle bath water. Esophagus widening. You gotta go to some very specific truck stop to get some esophagus widening techniques. That's how I got as good as I am. I found the first glory hole. Went to town. You're gonna be a real good narrator, kid.
Thanks. Thanks so much for your help.
Rapid weight gain is a rare side effect of Seroquel. Okay, interesting. Wonder why that is. You refuse to take meds even though you're accused of being a bipolar psycho. It's up to you. We all make independent decisions in our life. I don't take any medication. Everybody in chat wants to say I have ADHD or dyslexia or whatever the fuck. But I just take meth. I just smoke fent carts. Big deal. Yippee. Ah. It was only in the last couple of years that I found out how an uncle of mine had been touched as a child, and that the perpetrator was actually a priest at the family's church. This was way back in the 1950s in rural Pennsylvania, when there was no sex ed and when kids were told to religiously obey the commands of their elders. By the time he even realized what was going on, he knew no one would believe him, and there was no getting out of Sunday school either, so he was basically stuck getting abused from the ages of 10 to 13. By 14, he was avoiding church entirely, which caused a huge rift between him and my grandma, and then to combat all the stress which that caused him, Hey Lilith, thanks dude. Gym is my drug. This is true. I haven't gone to the gym in like a week because of being sick, and I'm getting yancy. Withdrawal symptoms. By 14, he was avoiding church entirely, which caused a huge rift between him and his grandma. Fuck, man. I don't know, it feels weird. By 14, he was avoiding church entirely, which caused a huge rift between him and his grandma. My grandma. What? Oh my god. By 14, he was avoiding church entirely, which caused a huge rift between him and my grandma. And then to combat all the stress which that caused him, he started drinking more and more heavily until he basically was a functioning alcoholic by age 18. And by the time he was 20, he was stealing cars, taking benzos and quaaludes. Then when the law finally caught up with him, he was given two choices: join the army and set himself straight, or spend the next 6 years in jail. He chooses the army, thinking the 3 years as a soldier will beat 6 in the slammer. But boy was he wrong, because just a year into his service, Uncle Sam went into South Vietnam, and my uncle went with him. To me, this is where the story gets really weird, because if my uncle did what he did next as a way of getting out of Vietnam, then I'd get it. In fact, a bolder man than I might even say that it was the smart thing to do. But at least officially speaking, my uncle's service record was impeccable. He served his country honorably, did one tour, came home, then he was discharged once he'd completed his contract. My mom said that the whole family thought that he turned his life around. But after a few months of being back home, my uncle started to act really, really strangely. So while he was over in Vietnam, my uncle had found religion, I guess it all makes sense in the world to get a little spiritual when you're so close to death every day, and when he got back, he joined a local church and spent a fair amount of his spare time helping out. But then one day, he just stopped going, and he didn't find any other church to go to either. Instead, he started acting depressed. He stopped going to work, stopped returning calls, so my grandma and grandpa reached out to the church that he suddenly stopped going to and asked the pastor if he had any idea what was going on. The pastor was over the moon to hear from some of my uncle's relatives, and he had had no other way of getting in touch or getting information about him. My grandparents figured that they were getting somewhere, but then the pastor hit them with some very terrifying news. My uncle had claimed to have been experiencing stigmata. And for those of you that don't know, stigmata is a Catholic thing, and it's when a person experiences unexplained wounds or scars that occur in the same place that Jesus was wounded during his crucifixion. We're talking wounds on the palms or wrists, wounds on the feet, near the heart, or on the person's head or back. My uncle had all of them. Fuck, I honestly do get dyslexic with this shit. An evil parrot. We're talking wounds on the palms or wrists, wounds on the feet, near the heart, or on the person's head or back. My uncle had them all. Only his pastor said the wounds were quite obviously self-inflicted. He said the one example of stigmata that he actually believed was a girl in Brazil whose stigmata consisted of a sudden and unexplainable lack of pigmentation in the affected area, and that the general consensus among most men of God was that the Lord does not inflict physical wounds and call them a blessing. Stigmata is a reminder of Christ's sacrifice, not a reenactment of it, and when the pastor confronted my uncle with this idea, that he was hurting himself, my uncle freaked out, stormed out of the church, and that's pretty much the start of him going AWOL. As soon as they heard that he was potentially harming himself, my grandparents enlisted the help of a few friends. Then they drove over to my uncle's place to stage what I guess these days you'll probably call an intervention. They went over to his place, and at first it seemed like he wasn't home. But when someone peeked through a window and saw blood on the walls, they smashed their way inside and found my uncle upstairs in his bathroom. They caught him doing it, cutting himself, and they basically dragged him off to the psych ward after convincing him to put the knife down. He was later diagnosed as suffering from paranoid schizophrenia, which had latched onto his newfound religion. I feel like paranoid schizophrenia is, like, in the future, when it comes to, like, psychological diagnoses or whatever, I feel like in the future we're going to get, like, a lot better at, like, scanning people's brains, you know? Like, doing, like, hardcore MRI style, like, maybe even more detailed brain scans that then you can, like, hyper specifically treat based on, like, the specific brain scan. But to me, like, just paranoid schizophrenia as a whole, as a diagnosis, whenever I hear it, just sounds like almost the same as, like, the 1920s when they're like, you've got delirium, here's this, and, you know, it's just kind of like a wild guess. Joel should give birth. How'd it work? No clue, but we'll find a way. I feel like me having a cold this past week was probably just as bad as giving birth, honestly. Being stuck in bed, like, with the sniffles and a little tired and achy, and scrolling on my phone. It's pretty much the same thing. He was later diagnosed as suffering from paranoid schizophrenia, which had latched onto his newfound religion with manifesting religious-based hallucinations and delusions. My family had him committed to the state psychiatric hospital, and he seemed to get a little better there, but was still very much in need of round-the-clock treatment to prevent him from doing any further damage to himself. A few years later, the state governor closed the facility my uncle was staying in, and he was basically given a choice between living at a group home or living on his own. Only those that had improved since their committal were given such a choice, and my uncle chose his freedom. My family never stopped being concerned for his mental and physical health, but he lived out the rest of his life in relative peace until he died of liver cancer when I was just a kid. My parents didn't tell me this story until I was way older, which made sense given how freaking dark it is. I just wish I had a chance to meet him. I mean, he lived one hell of a life, and even with all the crap he went through, he ended up finding a degree of peace in his final few... Oops. I mean, he lived one hell of a life. Fuck. I mean, he lived one hell of a life, and even with all the crap he went through, he ended up finding a degree of peace in his final few years. It might sound weird, but it kinda gives me hope. He fought in a war, was addicted to drugs, and went through a hellish kind of mental illness, but then managed to get past it. Or at least he got past it enough to live a somewhat normal life for a while, before his long overdue date with destiny. I'm not as stuffy now, which is sick.
Which is freaking sick, dude. It's like the sickness has made its way to the birth canal. If you guys can relate, I'm not sure. Down with the sickness. Get up, go, sickness.
Spicy centipede stew might help. Just like you're like a patient at that uncle's psych ward, and he's going nuts, and you just like pop up behind the orderlies trying to like subdue him, and you're like, some spicy centipede stew might help.
Like, get in your fucking room. Get back in your room, goddammit.
I'm just saying, it's helped me. He's still salt gargling. I did it yesterday. I didn't really need to do it today because I would honestly say though, if you guys ever do get a bit of a sore throat, the saltwater gargle, warm saltwater gargle a few times a day, it fucking helps dry that shit out. Obama. What's up, Sam? Raw honey. I do like honey. Now whenever I have like that mixed berries bowl, if I don't have like honey on it, I'm like, this isn't sweet enough. Ginger, honey, and lime works for HR. Yeah, I don't know. I just think if you have a sore throat because there's like a proliferation of like bacteria in your like upper respiratory tract and throat, You probably don't want to like introduce sugar right onto it, you know what I mean? Or at least if you do, the salt water, warm salt water, would be helpful in the sense that it can actually help kill that bacteria, or at least dry it out. You produce your own honey under your armpits. Just every time you lift your armpits, you got like sticky honey dripping out. Matzo ball soup does go hard. Really hate chicken noodle. I like egg drop now. When I was a kid, I really didn't like egg drop, but when you look at it, it's pretty much just chicken noodle soup, but with eggs instead. Which some people would be like, that's gross. And I was that way. I was that little kid. I thought that shit was disgusting. But now, booger soup. My grandmother emigrated from the U.S. from Estonia just before the outbreak of World War II. You might think that that'd mean that she'd avoided a lot of tragedy, escaping Europe before the war and all. But in actual fact, it was her own personal tragedy that prompted the move, or to be more specific, the death of my grandfather. My mother was an only child at the time, so she remembers my grandmother and other siblings being very sad about something, whereas she was just confused. She didn't understand where her father had gone, only that she should be sad that he never had come back. My mother was an only child at the time, so she remembers my grandmother and other siblings being very sad about something, whereas she was just confused. She didn't understand where her father had gone, only that she should be sad that he was never coming back. Sometime later, they moved to America, and many years passed before my mother explored the subject of my grandfather's death in more detail. But when she finally did, she was horrified about what she'd heard. Originally, all my mother knew about my grandfather's death was that it had been a sudden and tragic accident. He'd been out walking one day when an innocent misstep caused him to bash his head onto a jagged rock. Then, before anyone realized that he had hurt himself, it was too late. And that's when my mother and her other siblings were Hootie, welcome back for 26 months. As chicken pho and hoisin sauce and sriracha is my go-to for sickness. Yeah, honestly, I always think about that. Like, those Asian foods are so fucking good for just rehydrating, but also getting the sinuses going. Honestly, I feel like I need to consume more of that on a regular, just in general. Just more hot fucking fluids flowing through my body. Huevos drop soup. Oh, that sounds yummy. Or just some straight wasabi. Some wasabi snooters, dude. Sam, did you play Helldivers? Too. That's what my mother and her sibling. That's what my mother and her siblings were told. That it was all a tragic and unforeseen accident. But that was only partially true. The story goes that my grandfather used to wake up real early for work. I'm talking pre-dawn, when it's still dark kind of thing. He used to make his own breakfast, head out to work before anyone else woke up, and then he'd return home. Dude, I don't understand. Jacqueline, welcome back for 11 months. Says Granny's German cold cure. Honey and brandy and strong mint tea. Better than NyQuil. That does sound awesome. I wouldn't mind downing a bottle of that. You wish you could join the channel. Then you'd get bonus content. Wonder why you can't. Hey, Maggie, take care. Gotta get up at the crack of dawn. Yeah, you need some sleep. The story goes that my grandfather used to wake up real early for work. I'm talking pre-dawn. He used to make his own breakfast, head out to work before anyone else woke up, and then he'd return home late again in the evening after his long shift working at a lumber mill. One morning, my grandmother wakes up and she goes downstairs to find no dirty plates from my grandpa's breakfast, only a small scribbled note saying that he was gone and he was never coming back. Obviously, this shocked my grandmother, but mainly because it was completely out of the blue. They were happily married, at least that's what my grandmother says, so his sudden departure made her question his mental state. My grandmother then walked all the way into the nearest town from the farm that they were living on, told the constable that my grandfather was missing and that she was concerned for him. The constable then organized a search of the surrounding area in the hopes of uncovering the man's trail, but no one found him, and no one appeared to have seen him either. Once the sun went down, the constable suspended the search until the following morning and promised my grandmother that he'd extend the range of the search to the surrounding towns. But the very next morning, before the search could recommence, a local altar boy went running to the constabulary to report something awful. There was a dead body lying in the church's cemetery, and upon investigation, they found it was my grandpa. A doctor was summoned to the scene to determine the cause of death, and following a short inspection, he declared my grandfather had frozen to death. He had simply walked into the cemetery at some point over the previous 24 hours, laid down, and then just stayed still until he froze. He was lying directly on top of this one particular grave, too, so perfectly aligned with where the casket would be that it terrified the townsfolk when word filtered down to them. The grave was an old one, and its occupant bore no relation to my grandfather. According to the inscription, the deceased woman passed when my grandfather was just a child. There's a chance the pair may have met in some capacity, but there's no way that they had any kind of personal relationship, and the reason for this particular grave selection remained a mystery. The official explanation was that my grandfather had simply lost his mind, walked off into the cemetery, and was dead before my grandmother even knew that he was missing. The cemetery was small and isolated, and it wasn't every day that someone tended to it, so there was a chance my grandfather had lain there for a whole day before that altar boy finally found him. Folks tried to work out why he'd gone to that particular grave too, and that led to all kinds of really gross speculation. If he wanted to take his own life, there were far more effective and far less poetic ways to do it. And if it was indeed him doing so, what had been bothering my grandfather so terribly that he felt the need to actually take his own life? The never-ending mystery, all those unanswered questions were like a curse on my grandmother, and not long after my grandfather passed, she left Estonia and emigrated to America, like I said. She told my mother when she was an adult and had always regretted doing so. She then made her promise never to tell me until she was dead. She had lived with the pain of it and had seen what it had done to my mother, but she also knew that I had the right to know. She had lived with the pain of it and had seen what it had done to my mother, but she also knew that I had the right to know what really happened. My grandmother's only request was that she wouldn't be there to see it break my heart, in the same way that it had broken my mother's heart when she learned the truth. My mother became obsessed with the subject and tore my grandmother up to see her putting all this time and effort into something so fruitless. Wait, what? Oh, and it tore I thought she tore the grandmother to pieces. Dug her up. Ice cream sandwiches in the yellow packages? Which ones are them's? My mother became obsessed with the subject, and it tore my grandmother up to see her putting all this time and effort into something so fruitless. The only person who really knew what happened that morning was my grandfather, and unless there truly is such a thing as an afterlife, then our chance of getting answers died with him. I've accepted that we're never going to know what happened to him, and I'm inclined to believe that he suffered some kind of manic depressive episode, and that's all there is to it. But as Mom told me, there are others in our extended family, mostly back in Estonia, who think that something considerably more frightening and considerably more supernatural occurred that morning when my grandfather walked off towards that cemetery. Personally, I think that's a bunch of crap, and that any kind of speculation like that is an insult to his memory. But they really do think that it was some kind of curse, that the woman whose grave my grandfather laid on was some kind of witch, and that my grandmother fled Estonia to escape that curse. I can only safely say that neither myself nor my mother or grandmother believe there's any kind of supernatural element to my grandfather's death. To us, there's nothing more terrifying than the idea of someone just walking off into an icy cemetery, laying down and fighting off every overwhelming urge to seek warmth before finally blacking out forever. Because if it can happen to someone as loving, hard-working, and stable as my grandfather, then it can happen to just about anyone. Hey, see you, Maggie. Dairy Queen half vanilla, half chocolate with chocolate cake and crunchies and caramel. Caramel. Oh, goodness gracious. You're biting me? You can't just bite me in chat. It's like reading and I just get bit out of nowhere. Ah! Cello. Welcome back for 4 months. As I just got engaged, I listen to your videos while I'm making the decorations. My family's even started listening to your videos. Awesome. Thank you for letting them know, and congratulations. Congrats. That is amazing. Okay. That was story 5, actually. We're kind of banging this shit out. Wow, and this one's not that long at all, to be honest with you. At last. So, I will go ahead and take a quick break. I'm kind of hungry. I wish I had meat. I think I have meat. And Lisa, welcome back for 8 months, says, get a steaming hot bowl of water and put a lump of vapor rub in it. Put a towel over your head and inhale for 5 minutes. That sounds pretty awesome. I might try that at some point. But thank you, Lisa. Welcome back for 8 months. Anybody who is re-upping their membership, be sure to check out the bonus content later when you get a chance. And I will be right back. Okay.
Skibbity toilet. When Skibbity toilet. I love Skibbity toilet. You know what I did? No, you don't. One apartment in New York is like $10,000 a month. That sounds affordable for a true gamer. A star-worthy narration voice. Thanks, Toria. Am I eating? I just found some Pradeep's cat shit and throw up on the ground. Yeah, it's my favorite. Oh, little disgusting monkey. What song was that? It's called In My Core A by Secede. Just kidding. It was, well, no, that's true about the song, but I wasn't eating cat shit. I was eating little egg bites that you put in the microwave. I was just eating a little skibbity food, that's all. By our skibbity brand overlords at Amazon. At Skibbity Incorporated. Well, it's like the eggs are already pre-cooked, so you just microwave just warms them up. I put myself in there to keep warm too. What's up, Carly? Oh. Fuck, though. I do wish I had, like, just a whole ass... Dude, I wish everything in the world was open all the time forever. You should never be able to go... If you work somewhere, you should never be able to go home. Because of me. Because me, emperor of the world in my head, would like... maybe a little bit of soup at 4 a.m. Sorry, but Panera's gonna have to just stay open. Alright, move to Reno. Reno 911. Should have a personal chef. How much does that cost? Can you guys donate for my personal chef fund? Just kidding. You'll be my chef? You'll have to talk like the guy from the Muppets. Did I miss anything? Stephen Hot Bola. Alright, yeah, we're good. Progresso or Campbell's. They make the soups. Oh, that's true. Okay. Also, what's that one channel we watch with like spooky videos? Was it Beelzebub? It's been so long now, I've like forgotten how to do all that shit. But I feel like tonight, of all nights, is the perfect night to get quasi. Absolutely quasi. Scary videos. Sir Spooks. All Bizarre Bub. Yeah, bitch, let's go. 2 weeks ago, you guys probably already watched it, but whatever. Oh yeah, Nuki's top 5. What do you guys like more, Nukes or Bizarre Bubs? Honestly, I feel like the most minimal, as long as the quality is good. We really don't need that much commentary on shit for the most part. Anyways, that's what we're doing after this last story, which is pretty short anyways. We're just gonna watch some spooky tapes and get cursed. Cursed. I can't believe I'm about to tell you this, but I made a throwaway email and I'm not going to use any real names or places, so let's just go. The biggest, darkest secret in my entire family involves my granddad, his little brother, and a little Southeast Asian country called Vietnam. Granddad, his youngest brother, so technically my great uncle, and 2 of their close mates were lucky enough to have their numbers called in the draft for Vietnam. Obviously, none of them wanted to go, but if they didn't, they'd get arrested, lose their jobs, and it'd be a world of hurt for each of them. So instead, they had to come up with a plan to get themselves out of it. The plan was they'd drive out to get their medicals done together, but on the way there, they'd have themselves a little accident and drive their car into a tree or a ditch or something. Obviously, the plan was to get too injured to get sent to Vietnam, but not so injured as to be permanently crippled or what have you. But most importantly, it'd have to look like an accident so that nobody got pinched and sent to jail for being a draft dodger. At the time, they were all living way out in the middle of nowhere in Western Australia, so all they had to do was say they swerved to miss a kangaroo, hit a tree, then Bob's your uncle. They're just too bloody banged up to go to war. But then, things didn't quite pan out like that. My granddad was driving the car, his friend was in the passenger seat, and the 2 others were in the back, his brother included. They were driving along when they see this lone tree coming up in the distance. My granddad asked all the lads, "You ready, boys?" And they said, "Yeah, let her rip and skip." And then wham, the car smashes in the tree doing about 40 kilometers. Kilometers. Bob actually is my uncle. What's up, Don? Yep, let her rip and skippity-doo-dah. Let her skippity toilet. Alright. Granddad's right. Oh. Then, wham. The car smashes into the tree doing about 40 kilometers an hour. Granddad's right leg gets smashed in an instant. No Vietnam for him. The guy behind him breaks his arm and some ribs. No Vietnam for him either. Their other mate gets a few broken bones too, meaning no playing at being a soldier for him anytime soon. There was just one massive problem. Because this was rural Australia in the 60s, wearing seatbelts really wasn't compulsory. But then, knowing that they were going to be in a big crash, my granddad had sworn his as... But then, knowing that they were going to be in a big crash, my granddad had sworn his, as had his two mates in the back, and... Wait, oh. I read that wrong. But then, knowing that they were going to be in a big crash, my granddad had worn his, as had his two mates in the back and passenger seat. But his little brother, hoping that leaving it off would make for more debilitating injuries, had neglected to wear it, and the impact had ruptured his spleen. Nobody found the car for about an hour or two, and neither had anyone in it. Nobody had found the car for an hour or two, and neither had anyone in it factored serious internal injuries into their genius-level scheme. My great-uncle was dead before they could even get him to a hospital, and my granddad never, ever forgave himself. I only found out in the last couple of years following his death from heart disease. My grandma was the only one he ever told, as far as we know, and she didn't tell my mother until after he died, which is when I found out too. After the funeral, we found a small box in their bedroom when we were cleaning out the house. It had a clipping from the local newspaper at the time about the accident. It said that they had swerved to miss a kangaroo and called it a tragedy. I don't think my mother told any of her siblings, so technically this is still the family secret. I guess now you're all in on it, so why don't you keep it hush-hush? Alright, I promise not to tell anybody. But I just gotta read the outro script and then we'll watch some scary videos. Oh, you're an overachiever? That's good. What's your next overachievement going to be? Your Uncle Bob partied hard, had a bar stool dedicated to him at his local spot after he passed. Cheers, Uncle Bob. Bob is, in fact, your uncle. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and... Nope, not anymore. Fuck. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday and Wednesday night. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my... My brain is so fucked tonight. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations and save huge, no, not that either. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember... What are we remembering? Anybody remember anything? And remember. Systemic anatomy homework. Do it. 8 a.m. Uh-oh. Gotta get it done. Why the hell do they make shit due at 8 a.m.? I feel like that just encourages people to stay up. Well, maybe that's for the better. I like when he says, remember to read the Constitution. I heard that one night. Just inhale real slow. Okay, that'd be pretty funny. Thanks so much, friends. And remember... Okay. And remember, Bob's your uncle. That'd be good too. Next time. All right. We are watching videos, y'all. For real. No cap for Rizzy. We watching that shit go dizzy. I just gotta remember how we do it. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do do do. Guess what? What am I guessing? I gotta get some music on here. Bong Chong Wong. Perfect. I gotta remember where I put it. I feel like I make it real small and I put it over somewhere. Put it right there. Right there. You're pregnant and you got engaged. Congrats. There you go. Big moves. That's awesome. Can we talk like chills? You can do that if you want. It's up to you. Do whatever you want with your time in life. Okay. Let me try to even... Oh, yeah. Well, let's click the actual video. God, it's been so long. I'm just completely... Oh, you know what it is? Get rid of the chat box here. Do that. Make it full screen. Let me actually... Bong shakalaka. Oh, shit. It actually worked. Do. Screen cap. Oh, there we go. It's way more fun when the please stand by part comes up. Alright. Sweet. Are we comfy? You guys comfy, cozy, ready to watch some spooktaculars? Holy shit, I actually have... Oh my god. The fucking abortion in my lungs, dude. What the hell? I took a deep breath and I just feel all that shit. Alright, you know what? I left my drink upstairs. You can listen to this. Wait. Okay, audio, yeah, input, desktop, yeah. Sorry, it's been a bit. Alright, 1 second. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I do feel great though. Okay. And 3, 2, 1, go.
The following video comes from a real estate agent who caught something pretty creepy while filming herself on camera. She was filming a video for clients who are interested in buying the house she's selling. She often does video tours of houses that clients have requested to see. In this case, a few clients had requested to see a property during the evening as they wanted to see how the interior lighting appears at night.
Stories.
So she arrives at night and starts her video
Ghost,
tour with an introduction.
Ghost videos.
But as she records, she captures
from
this.
Bizarre Bubby's house of spooktacular scaries. She starts tap dancing.
Wow, it's 10 p.m. and my day was fully booked with showings of this beautiful vintage 1962.
Uh-oh. It's Casper. A pair anormal. She got an eviction notice.
Wow, it's 10 p.m. and my day was fully booked with showings of this vintage 1963 bungalow.
Oh shit. She's like, alright. Ghost is like, oh shit, you were filming? I'm sorry. All those paintings are coming off the fucking... Maybe I'm drunk. Drunk off the booch. Freaky, scary, ghosty tins. You can tell it's more legit because I feel like when people get really scared, sometimes they just don't fucking say anything. Oh,
You're on camera.
You're gonna fucking talk to it, bro? Don't talk to it. It's gonna squish her finger.
Open this door.
Ew, look at those tiles. Yuck. It'd be sick if you could just tell ghosts to do whatever and they would listen. Go grab me the Nutella canister. Go grab me a spoon.
Come on, just move a glass or something.
Those glasses are definitely getting moved. There it goes. Wait, I'm just making shit up in my head. You know it's gonna like smash when she looks away. Wait.
Go ahead, do it again.
Oh no,
I'm not scared.
Something fucked up's coming out. Or not. Maybe nothing at all ever happens ever. Yeah, beat this. Yeah, beat Mario for me. Okay, that is excessively creepy for some reason. I don't know if the moonlight's coming through that shit. Oh no! It's like, sure. God damn. Sorry. Oh my god. Fuck. It's like, I'm gonna just start a fire real quick. Sorry, that was loud as fuck.
Fearing for her safety, the realtor bolts out of the house in a panic frenzy. Something very strange, as she says, took place. Now, something else happens in this video that the realtor missed on the first viewing, and it happens somewhere in the beginning. On her second take, before the door opens, one of the portraits on the wall starts to change.
What?
And my day was fully booked with showings of this vintage 1963.
What the fuck? Yeah, it like got darker.
If you look closely, you'll notice that the face in the picture begins to darken. But after a couple of seconds, it changes back.
That's creepy. I mean, just
The realtor hadn't seen this
the
when it
orientation
happened,
of those
but if she had, she would have freaked out,
are
as
creepy
she
as
says.
hell.
Now, it's worth noting that she came to this house earlier that day and was already feeling creeped out during her time there.
Join me on a tour of this charming 3.5.
This
Join me
charming
on a tour of this
ghost
She was
infested
showcasing the property to a
crack
couple of
house.
clients when doors all of a sudden started opening on their own. It's unknown if she'll continue to sell the house, but if she does,
Sam,
viewers have commented.
Would you
that a
guys live with
substantial
ghosts?
discount on
Like, if you knew
price
you
would
had to
be
deal with ghosts,
necessary.
would you live with them?
Like most videos, there has yet to be an explanation.
Even if they were
for what
annoying as
happened.
fuck by setting off the fire alarm and throwing it.
In the following video, a man is alone inside a house when something very strange is caught on camera. The man in this
His
video
tootsies.
is currently remodeling his home with the help of his
Sorry.
friends. But according
What's
to
up,
them,
guys?
they don't like
I'm
this
gonna eat like
house,
15
and for
hot
good reason.
dogs.
Ever since working on the property, they've been experiencing unusual occurrences. A common one
Here's
is
my
hearing
feet.
faint whispers
Oh.
that resemble a child's voice. One night, the man is alone at home watching videos on his phone.
They're
when a
guaranteed
faint
gonna wake you
voice
up in
is
the middle
heard
of the night.
speaking. He immediately starts to record to capture the whispers that his friends talk about. But as he films, he captures this.
Ghosts with benefits. What the fuck, dude? I'm just trying to take a nap on the piece of wood. Oh! Jesus, every noise has got to be so fucking high pitched. Sorry, guys. Still sick.
No whispers are heard on camera, but a loud noise is heard instead. It turns out that a plate fell off the counter. The man reckoned that a rat had accidentally knocked it over.
It's that fucking
but
rat.
only a few nights later,
His
he
best
uploads
friend.
another video showing something that makes this incident quite concerning. Watch.
I'm here doing construction work at my house by myself, and
Oh,
my
shit.
phone
Got a
starts
little
going
paw
off.
up there on the
I start getting these
ceiling.
notifications that a person's been detected in my house. 6 minutes ago, it says someone was here. Look,
It was his ratatouille.
there's nobody here.
I don't see nobody. Just me and my Roomba.
Yeah, there's no one here. I don't understand.
50 times
I
speed.
noticed yesterday there was people detected too, and so I checked the cameras on yesterday's video.
No, it was just Todd and Jared and me.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Alright. Here, check this out. Look, no one. And then watch. Watch this. Look. And then it just disappears.
Wait,
and
what
then
was
I
it?
checked the second camera in the room. And check this out. Look.
Oh, a fucking
right
shadow?
there.
Oh my god.
But there's no person. I don't know what to say.
You should send that in
If
the
no one was
bizarre
inside
butt.
the room, then who or what was casting the silhouette? The notifications on the Ring
Wait, I
camera
didn't even
say that
see the
someone
silhouette.
is there, but clearly
Look.
Oh, what the fuck? How did I notice that? That's creepy.
And then it just disappears. And then I check the second camera in the room.
crooked neck. The way it's bent,
Mr.
according
Crook.
to them, is similar to that of someone who took their own life using a rope.
Oh my
Not
god.
knowing
That's
what
a
else to
great
think,
point.
The property owner has been feeling uneasy.
God, ghosts know
He has yet
exactly how to
explain
make
this,
you
But given what occurred in the video before, he
feel.
can't help but think that something
I don't know.
unexplainable
Every
is
time they
going on.
appear on like
Just
technology,
what
it's always like in
exactly
the
was
most
caught on camera.
poetic way or like sneaky way. It could be just video editing too.
Now, the following video was taken back in 2016,
Hi,
and it seems
Grandma,
that not
wake
many
up.
people have seen this footage. But despite not having many views, the video is still pretty creepy. The person recording this
Pretty
is known as
eepy.
Leon, and it was just then that something very strange happened with his wardrobe. Leon records this video, hoping that it happens again.
I like those closets.
Leon waits patiently, yet nothing happens.
Leon!
He swears that only a couple minutes ago, the cupboard was moving on its own. But unfortunately, as he records, nothing unusual
Never gonna
occurs.
beat the EP
That
allegations.
is, until Leon shows the inside of his wardrobe. Take a look.
Voy a abrir el ropero.
A lot of fake footage. Oh yeah, everywhere you go. Ooh, oh, I thought that was a... Oh, little clown guy! He's like, hello! He's definitely EP.
Now there's a reason as to why there's a clown doll in the closet.
Oh,
Leon
good.
says
That's
it's
good.
because of an incident that occurred a few nights ago. He doesn't exactly say what happened, but ever since then, he's put it in the closet to prevent whatever happened. Now getting rid of it would be a better idea, as he says,
W
but it's a
clown
pricey
guy.
heirloom that his family values,
W
so
clown.
trashing it is out of the question. However, as Leon continues to record, something happens that
Yeah, the
prompts him
clown's
to get rid
face
of
is
it.
a little too detailed.
Watch.
Acá el ropero donde mi mamá guarda es este.
They're like, hey, you know what's creepy? Dolls and clowns. Let's make fucking both. Oh shit, is it trying to get out? Oh my god, dude. Let me out of here.
Sí, sí, ahí estamos viendo.
I want to lay with grandma.
Toda la noche, no tiene más actividad en la noche. Bueno, vamos a abrir a ver qué.
Ah!
Ahí se mueve.
I feel like grandma's pulling the string.
¿Ya
Wait,
viste? Ahí como que.
wait, it moved whilst... Okay, never mind. It's a little fucking
Sí.
worse. Pradeep's just stuck in there.
Bueno, pero. Tengo que abrir los
Yeah,
cajones.
I know,
para
he's
que-
let his grandma sleep in there. She like,
que acá
he
hay
like
papeles,
barged in. She was mid-nap, and he's like, hey, how's your
ropa.
fucking...
Que no hay nadie
haunting going?
que pueda meterse adentro y. Vamos a abrir.
Probably laid eggs in there, the clown. Oh, it's like
Feeling
a
doubtful
porcelain
that
doll.
something would happen, Leon captures this. The wardrobe begins to shake
Yeah, the
vigorously.
clown was just spooked.
Like someone trapped inside, the dresser rocks back and forth as though whoever or whatever's inside is struggling to escape. But as we just saw, nothing is found to explain the movement. Leon even shows the space around to show that no one is behind.
Como pueden ver acá, el ropero está pegado a la pared. No sé si se puede. No hay nadie como para que haga alguna.
As with all videos, this one is pretty strange. But let me know your thoughts on the footage. Just what exactly was causing the wardrobe's movement?
I know. Every time I think of like a doll or something, the creepiest
Around
around
5
about a
p.m.,
doll is
when
that
mother
like
and
just
daughter
eating
watched
you
TV
for
in the
some
living
reason.
Having the house all to themselves, they thought it'd be a good idea to watch some cartoons, as earlier they were feeling a bit spooked. For some reason, Nadine Beckett and her daughter Blake couldn't help but feel uneasy. They continue to watch TV when suddenly
Hello,
things take a very creepy turn.
Eepy.
Blakey, you okay?
Oh shit. No. She's like fucking
Do you want me to
sweating,
go open
scared.
the door?
Oh yeah, let's film your kid.
Why?
Let's film your child terrified.
No. Okay.
The fuck.
Okay, I'm honestly freaking the out and I don't know what to do. Just a couple minutes ago, I got up and I closed my door because she kept pointing to my room saying, "Mommy, mommy, someone's over there." And she was terrified. She was terrified. Of course, freaking me out. So I went over there and she just said, "No, mommy, come here, mommy, sit, mommy, don't go over there." And so I called the dog and I closed the door. And as you can see, dude, she's still terrified.
You can see she
As
loves
Nadine
cartoons.
says, her daughter claims to have seen someone standing at the door. It isn't often the case that her daughter
Jesus,
gets
she's,
this
like,
scared
trembling.
unless someone
What
or
the
something
fuck?
was causing her to feel this way. But Nadine had no idea why she was so frightened, as nothing was there when she pointed at the door. The space was entirely empty. Nadine further adds that prior to this video, she had taken the following footage. Watching it again, she believes it might have some connection to this incident.
Oh, fuck. Oh. Jesus. Rah, rah, rah.
Once again, Nadine begs the question,
Yeah,
what
it's always
exactly
fucking
was
dogs
being
and
seen?
kids.
Neither her dog
And
nor
grandma.
her daughter appear to see anything, which understandably was disconcerting. But her sense of uneasiness becomes intense.
Basically,
after
everyone
deciding to
that
investigate the space
can't
where her
operate
daughter
a
had seen the
vacuum
figure.
can see
Watch.
ghosts. And I think that's there's a
Ricky?
reason to that.
Mommy's gonna go open the door, okay? I'll be right back.
Because if I could see ghosts, I'd be sucking that
It's
shit
okay.
up.
I'll be right back.
Keep expecting to see some shit in the background. Oh no. How old is she's probably like not even 2?
It's okay, baby.
Your mom's gonna get fucking sucked into the closet. Vortex ghost.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I know, that's probably it.
Okay, tell me I'm not.
Like before, nothing is there. Feeling twice as scared now, Nadine uploads the video and the footage before in the hopes of getting an answer for this creepy situation. If nothing had been around, then what exactly was causing her dog and her child to be on edge? As always, let me
I
know
don't
your
know. I
thoughts
could
on
have
this
seen
one.
somebody maybe hiding behind that kitchenette thing or whatever. Or kitchen
In
island.
this next video, a woman immediately starts to record
Is that a
her
woman?
dog after seeing
Oh.
them perform a trick.
It's like she's beautiful. Look at her. She's got a long mane.
As the video continues, it appears that nothing peculiar stands out in the footage, or at least
So a
it
little
seems like
gremlin
that.
runs across.
While initially not much happens in the beginning, it's what happens later that makes this video quite
Look how
strange.
fat that dog
Now,
is.
it's worth mentioning that the footage was submitted to me with a bit of info. The woman who took this video was alone at home with her 2 dogs, both of which have been helping her grieve. Only a month ago, one of her dogs had passed away.
Yeah, it was
This
spaghetti.
loss was so painful considering how close she was to Sadie, a dog who she says felt very much like her own child. But this grieving process was suddenly put on hold after noticing something odd in this video. It was during this recording that she captured this.
Wait. I don't see it. Wait, was that another one of their dogs, or was that some sort of little pig beast? Ooh, what are we seeing? Oh, okay. I was like expecting some freaked. Oh, there it is.
Out of nowhere, something appears in the background.
Oh my god.
It's there momentarily before vanishing from
It's
sight.
the predator.
Yet it seemingly appears when the woman calls out to her other dog.
It's a dog with like camo armor.
This specific detail is important, as it's led the woman to believe that the so-called unusual figure was not something random, but rather her dog Sadie. Perhaps the supposed spirit of Sadie had thought her owner was calling her over. Although initially baffled by this footage, she writes that it now serves as a source of reassurance, that Sadie is still with her like she has always hoped. But as always, you be the judge on
Rest in
what was
peace,
captured
Sadie.
here.
Rest in peace, Sadie. Live long and prosper, Sadie.
Now, the following video was posted by a mother who's concerned for the safety of her daughter. It was just recently that something highly unusual was caught on camera. This recording was taken inside her bedroom, where other strange occurrences have happened. A common occurrence is her daughter looking scared at a
Her
specific spot
daughter
inside
blaming
her
a
room.
ghost
The
on
mother
shitting her
states that it's almost
pants.
as though something is there. Whatever it might be, it's causing her to feel extremely unsettled. One time, she came bolting into her mother's room after claiming to have heard a woman scream. The mother was baffled, as she didn't hear anything when it happened. But when looking at the footage of when it took place, she saw this.
It would be kind of sick to have a ghost pet. But I wonder like how often it would show up. Oh fuck, she's like, I'm out of here, bitch.
A scream all of a sudden is heard on camera. The shriek had seemingly come out of nowhere.
She's like,
her daughter, in absolute fear,
fucking,
runs out as fast as
like,
possible.
zoink, Scoob, let's get out of
While
here.
it could be that someone hacked the camera, the mother doesn't think so. Given her daughter's strange behavior from before and other odd occurrences, she thinks that something supernatural occurred. But as always, what are your thoughts on this? Is this evidence of something paranormal? Or is it something else?
Oh, dude. Oh, come on. Show it again.
If you caught something creepy on camera, or if there's any ghost videos you'd like me to check out,
well, sometimes I feel like that one definitely required a replay with like the sound.
444@gmail.com.
Scary videos.
Let's get back to the video.
If you have any booty pics, you can send to them. Scary 444 videos.
Footage inside a house that they're deeply afraid of. The house in question belongs to the grandparents of one of the friends. His name is Alex Sample, and he believes that something unexplainable was encountered by him and his two friends. During the time of this recording, Alex's grandparents were on vacation, so no one else was home except them. But despite having each other as company, they couldn't help but feel scared. The house had a strange ambience. Now this feeling of unease only got worse because after a couple of hours, this happens.
Okay, so we heard something upstairs.
Bro. You're joking.
What the fuck?
Go.
Oh, I thought that was like a closet. Something threw a bunch of shit down.
It's so cold up here.
So
no.
Can we go home? What the
Is that an attic?
Turn it off, bro.
Or is that... This
Alex,
just looks like an abandoned...
Bruh.
Like a straight up abandoned upstairs. It's like a fully furnished upstairs that looks like just completely, I guess, storage, but...
Strangely, a musical carousel plays on
seems like
its
a weird
own.
place to like...
The three friends have no clue as to how the musical toy could have gone off by itself.
Store everything.
The atmosphere of the place, combined with the feeling of unease they experienced beforehand, ultimately brought them to the conclusion that this was paranormal. But whether or not that's so, this video is still pretty creepy.
It's a human ghost and you're just
If
petting
no one
it.
had touched the carousel,
Come here, little
then how
sweetie.
exactly did it start playing?
Your room is always cold.
On July 20th,
From
2023,
air conditioning.
a radio station in South America was airing a live broadcast that left many viewers feeling disturbed. The footage was broadcast online, so those who tuned in were totally creeped out. In the broadcast, viewers were introduced to a special guest named Antonio Zamudio, who according to the host is someone who's had a history of paranormal experiences. Antonio talks about these experiences, but when he talks about one instance involving a clown doll,
And his
the whole studio
favorite
goes
little
quiet.
doll.
Viewers could tell
I feel like
that
I've
the
seen that
atmosphere
doll
in the room
before.
had changed. Everybody was feeling unsettled, and even more so when Antonio showed footage of the clown doll. In the video, Antonio shows a close-up
The
of
doll
the clown,
really carries
which he
the
says
show.
was given to him by a family.
Oh yeah,
who found
didn't
it
we?
at a
Oh
garage
wait,
sale.
never mind.
But after they took it home, things got very strange. They
I feel like
decided
didn't
to
we
give it
see,
to
see
Antonio,
clips
given
of
his
this doll
experience with
before where he's like,
paranormal.
it's like crawling
But one
around
night,
and shit.
After setting up static cameras
Yeah,
to
yeah,
record
yeah,
the
yeah,
doll
isn't
in
this
case
it?
anything strange
It's like
happens,
cha-cha-cha-cha-cha.
he captures this.
It just starts doing Oppa Gangnam Style. Yeah, it fucking sprints across the room. Usain Bolt style.
Somehow, the doll moves on its own. Looking closely, it
Oppa
appears to move
Gangnam
by
Style.
itself at an upright position before running across the room. Understandably, Antonio was just
Jesus
as baffled
Christ.
as he was terrified.
Yeah,
It made sense now as to why the family seemed utterly
Like there's
spooked
a
about
full
this doll.
fucking like perfect
Something wasn't right with
sprinter
it.
form
To
run.
this day, Antonio says that he keeps it locked up in a glass case, given what happened that night.
It's like, oh fuck.
It's unknown if anything strange has happened since then.
get outta here, boys.
But until any updates are given, the question remains. Just how exactly did the clown doll move on its
Try
own?
and catch me.
Thanks for watching,
Oh,
and I
man.
hope you enjoyed. Also, if you haven't already done so,
Do we watch another one? Would you rather have a killer chase you or a mad ghost? I don't know, honestly. Like, I don't know how I'd react to either. I guess with the killer you could defend yourself, but I don't know what a ghost does when he gets to you, if it just wants to like suck out your essence. Okay, we can't watch this alone though.
On November 24th of 2023, a school janitor is walking through an empty hallway that other custodians don't like being in during the night shift. The high school where this video takes place doesn't allow students
think we
to be
saw
alone
this
inside
one.
this hallway after a specific time, and for good reason. This school was built on a cemetery. Throughout the school, photos of the old cemetery can be found displayed on the walls, including fragments of headstones that were once there. Janitors claim that the place is haunted. One night, a school custodian decides to record a video after having a strange encounter. But as he records, something happens that terrifies him beyond belief. This is his video. Watch.
All right, I usually don't.
I usually
record
piss in
while
this
I'm on the
area.
job, but this is freaking me out. It's sort of unreal. I'm here at work. I'm here in the janitor's closet. Yeah, let me just show you guys.
Where does that blue line lead? You go in the locker and it's... Never mind.
Just to, I don't know, let you guys know this school was built on a cemetery.
Cool. Just to remind
I don't know
everyone.
if that helps my situation or not, but previous janitors
I
that
hope we
worked
get some
here have
Japanese ghosts this
tried to
time. Those
tell
ones are
everyone that,
freaky.
you know, every night something happens, some spooky shit. I don't know, paranormal or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, dude, I don't know if I could be an overnight
I didn't
janitor
really believe
anywhere.
until tonight.
The animatronics would
I was
come
in
for
here
me.
cleaning up.
What the
after
fuck?
Some students had thrown a party, but
Some Pennywise balloons.
what's been freaking me out is this one right here.
Oh, of course. The red Pennywise balloon.
No matter where I'm at in the classroom or what I decide to do, it just follows me. And
Alright.
do your thing, you stupid balloon.
I don't believe this guy for a second.
Got you on camera now, so let's just, see? That right there.
There's no way, bro. He must have a magnet on the bottom of it. He's got a motherfucking magnet on the bottom of that shit. Just like slightly off screen. Because you don't have a balloon following you that you just like... And then you just like casually make a video about it. I feel like he'd be losing his shit right now.
Ooh, okay.
Wait, maybe. Uh-oh.
See, no.
Holy shit, dude. Legitimate Penis Wisington.
It just follows me no matter what.
Oh no, bro!
I can't.
As the
Fucking
janitor
wicked
walks into
witch,
the
bro.
classroom, a red balloon starts to follow him. But further adding to the weirdness of this incident are the other balloons. For some reason, the other balloons stay in place while this one follows him.
Yeah, they're just watching.
Feeling immensely unnerved,
Go get
he backs
him.
away slowly before suddenly capturing this.
No, I can't.
It was the
A
little
dark
doll
figure
from that
appears in the background.
South American
This
show.
mysterious silhouette is only seen for less than a second as it seemingly runs by at full speed. It bolts away before disappearing from sight. This alone was enough to make the janitor clock out immediately. Now there haven't been any updates except for a video in which the janitor talks about being scared to work alone now. But whether ghost or not, this whole incident continues to replay in his head.
Like I said, I haven't been back here to touch anything.
Kid's been shitting all over the floor. I ain't cleaned any of it up.
I don't even know if you guys can see that.
Ew,
Yeah,
what, bro?
I
Turn the
can't- I'm not
motherfucking
gonna-
lights on.
So then, just what exactly was caught on camera? With no further info, it seems that this question remains unanswered.
The Three Stooges should investigate. Hey, move over. The fucking balloons.
In the
They're freaking
following
me
video,
out.
a babysitter is looking after a girl.
Hey,
who
stay
in
out of the
video
locker.
Can be seen playing with her toys.
These
What you doing
kids are
over
pretty
there?
good artists.
Nice.
The reason
Wait,
for
what'd you
filming
say?
this video is because it was just earlier that the 5-year-old had said something very creepy to the babysitter. He films this video to
I
record
know,
what
just
she
pop the
said.
balloon.
Take a look.
What was it that you told me earlier about your doll?
When I play hide and seek with my doll, it moves.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
That doll? This doll?
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? I thought that was like a live baby. Oh, okay, not a ghost.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
Like you move it, or? What? When does it move?
When I play hide and seek with her.
When you play hide and seek?
Yeah.
Bro.
This creepy looking doll apparently comes to life when you play with it, but according to the child, it only moves if you play hide and seek with it. Now the child is only 5, so it could be that she was speaking from her imagination, but this
She could be
notion didn't
making
stop the
shit
babysitter
up.
from seeing if it was true. Curious to see if the doll actually moves, the babysitter plays a game of hide and seek. As he plays, he records it.
I'm 10.
We're playing hide and seek.
It just starts fucking crawling at him. No way, dude. Ew, dude, it looks so real.
Oh my god!
Dog, of course.
Sadie,
the
you
fucking
scared
dog.
me. Don't do that, dude.
Dude, everybody's dog's name is Sadie.
Although quite a jump scare, the sitter would much rather be scared by a dog than a haunted doll. Thankfully, as he says, it didn't move. Now, while it may seem that nothing unusual occurred during this night,
That's all the
something
video
happens
is.
later that scares the sitter to his core. According to him, the 5-year-old had just been put to bed when suddenly he sees this.
It's like stretches its back out. Oh my god, the dog
has been
growling at it.
staring at the
Oh
doll.
my god, dude, just the way that whoever made that doll needs to go to manufacturer's jail.
I'm kind of freaked out right now.
Dude, I want a dog so bad.
For some reason, the dog stares at the doll for more than a few minutes. Even weirder is that they stare at it from a distance. It's as though they're afraid of getting close. Given what was said about the doll, this strange occurrence is made creepy. But fast forward to just a few hours later, and something way creepier is caught on camera. The sitter is taking a nap inside a room, when out of nowhere, a faint noise comes from the living room. Mind you, the living room is where the doll was last seen. The sitter promptly wakes up and begins to record. This is what he caught.
Bing bong. Oh my god. Wait, it stopped when he showed up. That's creepy.
Yo.
Wait, what happened? Damn it. I missed
Strangely, a toy inside the living room goes off on its own, but next to the toy is what appears to be the doll. It seems to be in the same position as before, until
Drunk.
it's not. If you look closely, you'll notice that the doll starts to move on its own.
it. Oh, like it lifts
It appears
its
to be
fucking
lifting
head.
its head slowly,
Oh
as
my
if trying to make
God.
eye contact with the camera before
Hello.
quickly falling over.
Oh my god.
The babysitter, who at this point has seen enough, hurries out in a state of terror. The doll, as it seems, had come to life. Despite that there isn't a follow-up video to this incident, one can safely assume how the sitter felt throughout the night. But as with all videos, I'll let you be the judge on this whole encounter. Did the babysitter actually capture footage
I
of
feel like
something
when
paranormal?
pets-
Or might there be another
I feel like pets
explanation
are hard
for
to
this?
train to fake
It
stuff.
may just be that this video
This feels
remains a
kind of
mystery.
legit. Way more legit.
In this next video, two friends are exploring an abandoned paper mill with extreme caution. Aside from the fact that the old mill has potential hazards all around, there's another reason why both men are treading carefully.
Oh, this looks cool.
Rumor has it, the old paper mill is haunted. Now both friends are known as Kenneth and Justin, and they've set out to explore a place where residents have either seen or heard unexplainable things. One resident recounts a time when he and his friends saw something pretty creepy.
Look at his haircut.
Yeah, most definitely. The paper mill's haunted as shit. Because I went there the one night.
Haunted as shit, goddammit.
We all went over there and
pit stop. Fucking. We got Zins. We got fucking.
My buddy caught it on camera. That
Okay.
something ran behind us.
No kidding.
On Snapchat. Like,
Is that a shadow or is that his facial
Dude,
hair?
I'm gonna be down there trying to get.
Now there's a lot more stories from others who live near the mill, but the reason Kenneth and Justin are visiting the place is not because it's haunted,
It's
but
like if the
rather to
Amish
see
went
what's left
punk.
of it. This is a hobby of theirs,
Oh
and
my
the
God,
old
dude, I
paper mill in
wouldn't be
Austin,
walking across that
Pennsylvania
shit.
is on their list of places to explore. But little did they know that something
Wait, where is that
terrifying would
paper mill?
happen while being there. Both friends are exploring the old mill
I live
when
there?
they find a dark space beneath the building. They head down and capture this.
Got an Edgar haircut.
Well, I want to get that lower.
Edgar. Holy shit, I tell you what.
What is it?
A bone.
Bone. I don't see it. Oh, it is. What the
Bone. He said bomb. Holy shit. You gotta sing Halo. That was an animal. Never mind.
Hello?
Oh no. Jesus Christ, dude.
What was that?
Let's get the fuck out of here.
All of a sudden, a disembodied voice is heard from the darkness. Both men, upon hearing this, run away in a frenzied manner.
sounded like a
as
little
it seems
girl.
like someone or something had responded. It almost sounds as though a child had responded to them.
Ew, dude.
But assuming this was an actual kid, the question arises, what's a child doing in a dark cellar of a building that's been abandoned for years?
Dude,
Now,
it's like one of my
nothing strange happens
biggest
afterward,
fears.
But throughout the trip, you can for sure
It's
tell
like
that they were left.
being in a situation like that where, I don't know, you're trying to elicit some response and something does happen and people all freak out at once and like run. And I just imagine you're the one that gets like knocked over in the fucking like abandoned exploration area with tetanus and all sorts of bullshit to like cut your hand on or whatever. Just because I feel like I have so many friends who like in the past, like they freak out about something like that and then like just knock your ass over as they're trying to get by. That shit pisses me off.
Disturbed. Just who or even what had been there? They have no idea, and they don't plan on ever coming back to find out. This next video was taken by a man who caught something pretty creepy while taking a smoke break outside his house. It was 7 in the morning when this happened, which according to the man was a time that no one else in his family was awake except for him. He was all alone, smoking a cigarette, while staring at the woods surrounding his backyard. But after looking closely at the separate garage next to his house, he immediately dropped his stick. Although unable to move at first because of how shaken up he was by what he saw, he quickly takes out his phone and starts to record. Whatever it was that was inside his garage has left him too afraid to ever look inside while taking a smoke. This is what he caught.
Wait, so what's this place again? Oh no, I don't even want to see what the fuck he's about to see. No. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck?
What the bro?
Ew. Did it just like manifest there? Jesus. Ew. It's like floating there. Oh wait, is the shit like coming down? The curtains are moving?
Okay, cool.
Dude, the curtains moved. Oh wait, what am I... Or is that reflection? Dude, what the fuck's going on? Oh, he moved. It was Jesus.
Although initially, nothing is seen at first, the man records what looks to be a face that just suddenly comes out of nowhere. Like something you'd see during sleep paralysis, a pale face emerges from the darkness.
That
as
actually
it stares
feels like,
blankly
I don't
with no
know,
motion
in a weird
whatsoever in
way,
its
like
face.
very legitimate.
But not only does it lack any movement, but a body as well. This mysterious face doesn't appear to have a torso or any limbs
Head?
at all.
Question
Whatever this
mark?
is, just seems to be a floating head with no
It's just
other
a
bodily
penis?
features.
Big penis down there?
Despite its unnatural appearance, the man is certain that this wasn't a family member who was awake during this time because, as he states, everybody in his family has a very dark skin tone. This, whatever it was, does not have the same tone. This video was taken in Gainesville, Florida.
fucking
And to this
green,
day,
bro.
the person who shot this video has no idea as to who or even what was caught on camera.
It's Snape. Dude, that was probably the creepiest one I'd
Now,
seen in
this
a
next
while.
video was submitted to me by Ashley Goldswag, who was left extremely unsettled by what happened a few weeks ago. Ashley writes that she was lying in bed with her dog when minutes later,
Aw.
he became intensely hostile. This often happens when Ashley is alone at home, and it's usually this doorway that her dog growls at. But there's something else about this doorway that Ashley writes about. On a certain night, she was having an episode of sleep paralysis. However, during this paralysis, she saw what appeared to be a person standing at her door. She closed her eyes as it was the only thing she could do. When the paralysis was over, the figure was no longer there. It's because of this that Ashley finds this video to be creepy. The following is what she caught.
Creepy. Okay, dog's pissed off. Dude, I hate cracked doors. I can't. I hate butt cracks, cracked doors, smoking crack. Just can't do it. Oh, don't zoom in. Send the dog. Dog, go get it. Go suck it up with a vacuum.
What is it?
I have no fucking clue. Oh shit, he's going in, bro. Oh, it's gonna... Wait, is that a hand right there? No. It's gonna fucking smack him. That looks like a little hand. That is a little fucking hand. Does that have like a snack? What is that?
Nothing apparent is seen on camera, which makes the dog's behavior quite strange. Ashley isn't sure as to what exactly it was that her dog was growling at, but knowing that a long time ago, someone or something might have been standing at the door makes this
Just a little
video
hand
lot
comes through
creepy.
and pets
Although
its
the
head.
appearance of this room is already creepy enough, Ashley's friends and family find this footage to be quite unsettling.
It looks like something, unless that's just something hanging off her door. Yeah, I guess so.
On October 1st of 2021, someone posted a video of a birthday party that was being held inside a house. The video starts off with friends and family singing happy birthday to the girl sitting in front of the candlelit cake. Watching the video,
Coyotes
it seems that
outside?
nothing
Yeah,
unusual
maybe.
stands out. But as you continue to watch, something happens that leaves everyone at this party feeling creeped out.
That cake looks good.
This is what was captured.
It's just like a huge beast just in the corner of the room. Like hissing.
Happy birthday to Happy birthday to you.
Her childhood nickname?
62. Happy birthday.
Oh my god, she's making a wish.
I'm gonna give you 62.
Can you wish I'm getting a girlfriend?
There's a lot of millions in this guy. What the heck? Who's that?
Who blew it out?
Oh shit.
Because he said it was
Oh shit, they blame the little girl.
It was a win.
Mi abuelita.
What win? There's no win.
That's creepy as fuck, dude.
Give me that one. There's no win.
Little prankster ghost.
Carmen, was it you? No, she would have said if she blew it out.
The candles on the cake are blown out, yet no one on video
Wow.
was seen blowing them.
Really powerful.
Even weirder is that the birthday girl thought that someone was behind her and hence thinking they had blown them. But after turning around
She's
and
like,
seeing
"What
no one
the
behind, it became
fuck?"
clear that something strange had occurred. If no one blew
She's
them
cursed.
and there wasn't a draft, then how
She's got
exactly
the blow,
did this happen?
blow ghost curse.
There's a lot of millions in this guy. What the heck? Who's that? Who blew it out?
While the family thinks that something supernatural occurred, viewers have yet to give a conclusive answer to this mystery. Just who
Ghost
or
farted
what
on it,
had
yeah.
blown the candles. If you
I
caught
feel like if
something
I was a
creepy on
ghost, I'd
camera,
do
or if
stupid
there's any
shit
ghost
like
videos
that.
you'd like me to check out and include in the next
Just be
compilation,
farting everywhere.
you can send them over to scaryvideos444@gmail.com. That being said, let's get back to the video.
Using a different microphone.
Now this next video is
little
pretty
bit
short, but it's still
further
nonetheless
away.
pretty creepy. It was submitted to me by a viewer who found the video on Instagram. The original source is unknown, but despite lacking any context, the video speaks for itself.
Ate too
A
many
mother
chips.
is alone
What
at
kind of
home
chips
with her
did you
two
eat?
children when strange things start
wouldn't
happening.
mind some chips right
now, the person who sent this further adds that the mother had been experiencing paranormal occurrences at home ever since moving in. This video is just one of many of those occurrences. It's late at night when the following happens. Watch.
David De La Rosa, thank you for the one, dude. Appreciate you.
It's just us here, and Henry's at work, and I'm in here in my kitchen chairs out there. Shh. And I'm freaking right now. Shh. Ready?
Booga booga booga, I'm a ghost. Wait, I fucking missed that shit. I gotta go back.
When the video
Oh, I thought it was like something running at her. It's a fucking
Now,
chair.
right when the video starts, it's immediately evident that the children are distressed. Something is upsetting them, and we don't know what it is until moments later. The mother walks out cautiously from the safety of her room when a chair abruptly slides over. This was enough to send her running back inside, brimming
I
with
thought it was like
immense
a
fear.
four-legged beast
Not
growling.
much else is known about what happened afterward, but if one had to guess, it would be that they remained inside the room until the father, who she mentions, returned home. Unfortunately, like most videos, this one remains a mystery.
Number one.
In this last video, a man from Poland is walking through a secluded forest when he finds an abandoned house. However, there's something about this place that doesn't seem right. Oddly, for some reason, the owners of this house had left most of their stuff behind. It's as if they had left in a hurry. Not sure as to why there were still things inside, the man walks around with caution, thinking that someone might still be there. But as he checks out the place, things take a terrifying turn. Watch.
This is my kitchen. What the hell? The rent here is $3,500 a month. Oh shit, the cross is upside down. That's not good. A sign, don't go in that room. It's a cursed room. 5 times speed. I'm gonna steal that, and I'm gonna steal this, and I'll take this and that. That's the cursed room. He's actually going in the cursed room. This is Boogie 2298's gaming lounge. That stain on the wall is gonna move. "15 times speed." Oh! Oh. And that's it. Goodbye, folks. Oh shit, did he get something thrown at him? He's grabbed. It grabbed him. Dude, he's fucked. He's trapped. he ain't get. Oh, what? Never mind.
Out of nowhere, the house comes alive. Things move on their own, and a musical box begins to play by itself.
Oh, that is creepy.
Although we
as fuck.
don't know the property owners' names, their pictures can be found throughout the house.
God.
But whoever they were, they must have left the place at once
He
for
got
obvious
cummed on.
reasons. It's unknown where this house is located, but given what happened in this video, there's no need for an address.
Wait, did you?
Whether
is that-
actually haunted or not, the setting of this place is creepy alone. But of course, let me know your thoughts on this one.
Did you ever see? I feel like houses like that
Thanks
specifically
for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
just exist
Also,
out in the middle
if
of
you
the
haven't
woods.
already done so, please subscribe
Also,
and make
this
sure to
one
hit the
just
bell
with the kid
icon
like
so you don't miss any
sprinting away.
uploads in the future. Also, be sure to check out the
all of
official
his-
TikTok.
All of his thumbnails are just scared babies. Freaking babies, dude. They're always scared. Ah, all right. Well, bing bong. Thanks for watching with me, guys.
Talk account for this channel.
That was fun. Get back into that again. Get spookerfied. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Appreciate ya. I will go ahead and get those stories we recorded of dark family histories and pasts and all that kind of stuff up and edited over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there for early access, and then we'll get it up on YouTube, same time, same place, every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. ish, EST ish. But otherwise, I'll be back streaming Wednesday night, EST time frame, East Coast of America. And I don't know what topic we're doing then, but I'll keep you posted on it. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter at Let's Read and Instagram at letsread.official to be kept up to date when I go live, when new content comes out. Yeah, thanks for chilling. Hope you guys have a great night, night, wherever you are on planet Girth. And I will catch you again. Oh, so soon. This music is so fucking fire, dude.